as you would expect from the cousin of one of the best safeties in NFL history. He's just a big, strong guy with clean, easy power. And Barefoot, yeah, you said 396. Him and Austin Shenton from Wareham have sort of been trading back and forth the batting average lead. But he's been above 390. He was above 400 briefly. And he has just 3 homers, 7 doubles, 19 RBI. He has just produced. And I think him in the 3 spot is a great spot for him. I know they've let him off a few times when we face them, which makes sense for a guy who's hitting 390. But if you put base runners on in front of him, they're going to be in trouble. So getting Wenzel and getting Will Holland is going to be a huge key, as they're ahead of Barefoot and Lott and to a lesser degree Seth Gray. So those 3 guys are the key. If Chevalier can shut them down, he puts himself in great position, because if he needs to take the scary part of their order out of the game. So I would say you want to say take it one batter at a time, but I would say give special attention to those 3 guys, because if you don't have your best stuff every single pitch against them, they are going to hurt you.
Absolutely, and it seems like both pitchers might get hurt a lot today. The Harbor Hawks, that is, are tied with Cotuit for last in the league with a 4.53 team ERA. Both teams coming in here dead last in the Cape League in that regard for pitching. Now let's talk about the standings a little bit. It seems to be the song remains the same in the East Division. YD, the standard bearer for the entire Cape Cod Baseball League, 42 points at 19-9-4 on the year, and it just seems like it's YD's division to lose at this point. Now a clear 10 points ahead of the Chatham Anglers, who are coming here tomorrow to face the Kettleers. Chatham at 32 points in second there, so they seem pretty comfortable, at least them and Harwich, to make the playoffs. Harwich right behind them at 30 points. Seems like it's going to be a battle for second and third there, so could prove crucial between Chatham and Harwich for home field in a playoff series between the two. Of course, the 2 and the 3 in each division play each other, while the 1 and the 4 will play each other as well in the division semifinals. So we'll see what happens with those 2 teams. And then Orleans is looking up at Harwich and Chatham with 25 points and 12-19-1. Might be one of the first teams to be 7 games under 500, but still making it. And they're ahead of the Brewster Whitecaps, 9-21-3 on the year with 21 points. Now in the West Division, Hyannis, as we mentioned, in the lead with 40 points. They're right behind YD. Don't look now, Red Sox, but Harbor Hawks with 40 points at 19-10-2. Got to imagine Kyle Kemp's having some laughs over there. The former Kettleer cut by Cotuit earlier this season, now a part of that Hyannis bullpen. The Harbor Hawks 40 points. Wareham's looking up at them, 3 points back, a game and a half if you want to equate it to the MLB standings, with 37 points, followed by the Falmouth Commodores, who seem to been hot lately, 33 points for them, and they are 6 points clear of the Cotuit Kettleers and the Bourne Braves, who are tied at 27. Bourne just ahead on run differential if the season was to end today. Now let's talk about last night. Some interesting games there. Wareham, including Wareham, 2 games in which they lost both. A 6-5 loss to Hyannis in the noontime start, and then a 5-3 loss to Brewster in the twilight start. So very interesting. 2 losses for the Gatemen yesterday, and then Hyannis beating Chatham 12-5, a big win for the Harbor Hawks coming into today. Bourne 6-3 over the YD Red Sox, so a huge win for the Braves over the top team in the league, like we mentioned. Harwich, that is, and Cotuit tying at 3 after 12 innings. We mentioned that already. Again, Harwich, the bases loaded with 1 out in the 10th inning, could not get a run across, and there was not a single base runner after that, ending in a tie after 12 at White House Field. And finally, Falmouth over Orleans 10-3. Again, the Commodores are heating up at the right time. It seems like they're going to start to distance themselves from Cotuit and Bourne, leaving the Braves and the Kettleers to fend for that 4th and final playoff spot. Ben, before we go into tonight's games, start to wrap up the show, any comments on the standings?
Yeah, I think if Hyannis holds on to this division, you have to look at yesterday as the day that sealed it for it. They played 2 games, but they got them both at home, and they won them both. Wareham had 2 games. They had to travel from Wareham to Brewster. They lost both games on the road. And that's just, I mean, that's how the cookie crumbles. But if they drop the division, I think they can look at that day and say that's what messed us up for the rest of the season. So I think yesterday was a huge day, and I think today is a huge day for Wareham to try to bounce back. I think it's key for them to bounce back and pick up at least 1 point if they want to maintain some momentum heading forward.
And here's where Wareham will be tonight. They're going to be at Harwich, a 6:30 start at White House Field there. It's Harwich, a lot of preparation getting ready for the All-Star game there. Starting to look good for that game, getting ready there. Hyannis at Cotuit, starting just minutes from now as the umpires take the field. Chatham at Brewster, a 5 o'clock start as well as Bourne at YD, a couple of big games there. Interdivisional game for Bourne, and then Chatham-Brewster, a big Eastern Division matchup between the last place and the second place. Orleans at Falmouth, another interdivisional game. Seems like to be the theme of the day here. And then Wareham at Harwich, another one. It seems the only divisional game, Hyannis at Cotuit. That'll just about do it for us. The Kettleers will be home first, the Chatham Anglers tomorrow right here at Lowell Park, while Hyannis will travel back to McKeon Park to take on the Orleans Firebirds. That'll just about do it for us, Ben. It's in the mid-70s. It's beautiful baseball weather. The humidity's gone down a little bit at Lowell Park, so I highly recommend you stopping by if you're on our live stream. Feel like coming to watch a beautiful baseball game at America's most beloved ballpark. Just kidding, that's Fenway, but it is a very pristine park we have here. That'll just about do it for us. On behalf of Ben Fisher and myself, I'm Zach Kaplan. We're going to set it up to our broadcast booth. The men they call the Sams. They're still feeling the bingo fever up there. Let's see if they are. Sam Brief and Sam Niederman, take it away.
Thank you, Zach. A big thanks to Zach Kaplan and Ben Fisher executing the pregame show there. And we are feeling the bingo fever, I'd like to say. After last night's 3-3 tie in 12 innings against the Harwich Mariners, the Cotuit Kettleers back on home turf with big stakes against the Hyannis Harbour Hawks Patriot Cup, game number 6. The road for the Cup ends here, and the Kettleers with a chance to make it 6 Patriot Cups in 7 days. So happy to have you along with us this afternoon. Sam Niederman, my good friend Sam Brief, Sam and Sam here in the booth at Lowell Park. Big game today for the Kettleers, a chance to win some hardware. How about that?
Any game where you have a chance to lift a trophy at the end of the day is a big game. And for the Kettleers, in a season where right now they're 5th in the West and they're playing a Hyannis team that's 1st in the West, certainly this season would be ripe for Hyannis to finally get the Patriot Cup. But what do you know? The Kettleers on the verge of taking it for the 6th year out of the last 7. It's certainly a good season from that perspective. And I know, it's not like winning the Super Bowl, but it's something. Lifting a trophy, as you said, that has some meaning.
Cotuit taking on Hyannis. The Kettleers with a 3-2 series advantage. 6 games between the two sides throughout the season. The winner of that regular season series hoists the Barnstable Patriot Cup, and that's what's on the line today. We caught up with head coach Mike Roberts before the game, talking about last night's tie against Harwich and much, much more. Let's go down to Coach and see what he had to say before today's matchup.
Before today's Game 6 Patriot Cup matchup against Hyannis. Coach, let's go back to last night, another 12-inning affair that ended in a 3-3 draw with Harwich. Bullpen played a big role, scoreless from the 7th inning on. What can you say about the performance from Joey Walsh, Stephen Schock, and then Garrett Gale to close things down?
Well, they certainly
testing 1-2.
Both teams relievers did a great job last night. So it's a good ball game, and as you could say, I'm a little bit tired of playing 12 innings and coming out with ties, but that's the way the league is in regards to, and 12's plenty. Otherwise, it destroys your bullpen. But it was a great game, and I was really proud of the way the guys played last night.
And Coach, we saw you working before this game with Michael Tolia with his swing in the cage. What have you been working on him with, and what are you looking for as a stretch of the season?
Well, the first thing, trying to make him meaner. I'm just not more determined. He's determined. He loves the game. He practices the game well. No, but we're working on trying to lock in legs. His legs have not been locked in the whole summer. He's drifted, and as you've witnessed, he's hit a lot of opposite fly, kind of soft, opposite field, soft fly balls, and then he rolls over ball to the pool side. Particularly left-handed. And last night he rolled over a ball to first base. And so, I think he's a little frustrated, but the first 3 weeks he was here last year, he did the same thing. But he locked it in a little bit sooner. So today we finally decided we needed to get back and try to get his legs locked in where he can make contact with the ball a little further out front. Because if Michael can get warmed up a little bit and add some to our offense, and we got a chance to be a lot better.
Coach, and lastly, your son, Brian Roberts, former major leaguer, has been in town this past week. We've seen him around the ballpark working with players on base running, giving tips on hitting. How cool is it to have your son giving counsel to your team and just to have him around here in Cotuit?
Well, I'm appreciative of him doing that. He would never come up here on his own and do it. Brian's always been just kind of a nice little guy, 5'8", 160 pounds, but he'll do it if you ask him to, because he wants to help. So I asked him if he would visit, and Duke Ellis wanted to talk to him some about Stanley Third, and some of the other guys went out. And then we have 3 switch hitters now. We had 4 with Reynolds before he got hurt. And I think he was visiting some with Dillard and Tolia and Wolford tonight, a little bit about switch hitting.
Very good. Well, good luck tonight, and all the best. We appreciate your time.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's a beautiful day at Ballpark.
Here on the field with Coach Mike Roberts, pregame interview before today's game. Beautiful Lowell Park here in Cotuit, Massachusetts, the final battleground here in Game 6 of the Barnstable Patriot Cup between the 2 local rivals, the Cotuit Kettleers and the Hyannis Harbour Hawks. The winner takes it today as the Kettleers with a 3-2 regular season series advantage over Hyannis. Simple enough for the Kettleers, a win, and it's 6 Patriot Cups in 7 seasons. Should Hyannis win today, a little more complex. They would tie the series at 3, and then that goes into tiebreakers, the first being least runs allowed, the second being most strikeouts accumulated, and if we had to go to that third tiebreaker, it would be an old-fashioned bat toss by either of the team captains. We'll get into that a little later. Happy to have you in the broadcast booth. Sam Niederman, Sam Brief, the entire Kettleers media team on YouTube, on Comcast Channel 99, and on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Audio streaming on Mixler.com. Such a beautiful day on this Thursday. Game 6 between these two sides. They've gotten together. The Kettleers have had their way. And here we are, a chance to win some hardware.
I just want to find out what a bat toss is. But more than that, excited for this game. A chance for the Kettleers to turn the tide against a division rival. The only division rival, really, that Cotuit has had their number this season. Just 1 win this year against Bourne, none against Wareham or Falmouth. but 3 wins against Hyannis. So certainly this is a team we can look at and say the Kettleers have had their number offensively for sure. The 3 wins for Cotuit against Hyannis this year, they've scored 10, 9, and 8 runs in each of those 3 games. So in order to beat Hyannis, you got to do it with offense. The bad news is this Hyannis team is rocking and rolling right now at the top of the West.
Hyannis, 4 consecutive wins, including 2 in 24 hours yesterday. They played against the first-place West Division leaders Wareham Gateman at the beginning in noon. They beat them in a game that picked up in the 7th inning due to protest. Wareham won a protest appeal, played the rest of that game at McKeon Park, and Hyannis took care of business. It was scoreless. The Harbor Hawks take a 6-5 victory. And then later that night, the Chatham Anglers were in town. Hyannis dusted them off easily, 12-5, powered by an 8-run second inning. And what do you know? At the end of the day, Hyannis leapfrogs Wareham in the divisional standings, 3 points clear at the top of the pile, a 19-10-2 record. Meanwhile, for the Kettleers, in last place, on the outside looking in, but not by much. In fact, nothing separating them and the Bourne Braves, as the Bravos in 4th with 29 points, Cotuit with 29 points, but not favorable in the tiebreakers for that, as the Kettleers have lost the head-to-head so far with Bourne, who currently hold that 4th last playoff spot projected in the Western Division. Of course, 4 of the 5 teams in each division make it. And here we are today, the Kettleers coming off of that 3-3 tie against the Harwich Mariners, and they'll be behind a right-hander who's making his 3rd start of the season. The Cotuit native, Luke Chevalier from Northern State University in South Dakota. He gets the call opposite Zach Cohn, a right-hander for Hyannis. Should be a good one. Hyannis starting lineup, coached by Chad Gassman. It sounds like this. Davis Wenzel, the 3rd baseman, leading off. Will Holland, the shortstop, batting 2nd. Matthew Barefoot, leader in batting average on the Cape, bats 3rd and plays left field. Seth Gray, the 1st baseman, batting 4th. Todd Lott, the designated hitter, batting 5th. Trevor Hauber, the right fielder, batting 6th. Eric Rivera in center field, batting 7th. Kyle Wilkie, the catcher, batting 8th. And Taylor Garris, the 2nd baseman, batting 9th. Chevalier winds up, delivers a first pitch fastball on the outside corner. Strike 1 to Wenzel, and Patriot Cup Game 6 underway here at sunny Lowell Park. The 0-1 grounded hard on the left side, foul. And immediately, Chevy, who likes to work fast, ahead in the count, 0-2. 6th meeting between the two sides. Kettleers 3-2 against Hyannis this season, trying to win their 3rd Patriot Cup in a row. The 0-2 to Wenzel. Slider tailing off the plate for ball 1. Kettleers in the home white uniforms today. Maroon pinstripes, maroon caps, the Old English script C on the front in gray. Check swing Wenzel on the 1-2 pitch. He does not go, and that evens up the count. Kettleers starting defense. Brady Smith at 3rd base. Mike Salvatore is the shortstop. Corey Wood at 2nd base, and Michael Tolia at 1st base. Chevy's 2-2 lifted back foul once again, and Wenzel battling as a leadoff man. Matthew Wolforth getting his 2nd start of the season as the catcher. He made his debut as the DH, but now he plays in the field from Dallas Baptist University. And in the outfield, Duke Ellis, Peyton Burdick, and Will Robertson from right to left, or left to right. As there goes Davis Wenzel, swing and a miss. Good off-speed changeup from Chevy that time.
Great stuff, Chevy. Working quick. He mixes up his pitches well. Good to see him back starting. Last time starting for him was over a month, or just about a month ago against Brewster. We've seen him a lot out of the bullpen as of late, but nice to see Cotuit native making his 1st start at Lowell Park this season.
1 up, 1 down here in the top of 1. Now Will Holland, shortstop from Auburn, skies 1 high into center field. Burdick backtracking. He makes the catch, battling the sun. And just like that, 2 down here in the opening frame. So a good start for Luke Chevalier, who's making just his 3rd start of the season, his 10th appearance as a pitcher. Began the year in the rotation, then was shifted into more of a middle relief role. But with a couple of Cotuit arms leaving due to injury or whatnot, he's been implemented back into the starting rotation. Getting a chance against Hyannis here. Matthew Barefoot, the batter, takes a fastball on the inner part of the plate for strike 1. Chevy's last start, all the way back on June the 22nd at Brewster. The 0-1 runs inside, and it looks like it clipped Barefoot on the shin. A hit batsman with 2 outs here in the first will give Hyannis their first base runner of the day.
Typical Matthew Barefoot, getting on base any way he can. He's been the best hitter on the Cape this season. That time, not hitting, but getting hit. Either way, a base runner for Hyannis, and Chevy's got to be careful here. 2-out hitting has burned the Kets at times this season. Chevy's got to shut it down.
Now Seth Gray, cleanup batter, digs in and fouls off the first pitch he sees. 2 outs in the top of 1, no score. Matthew Barefoot on first base after getting hit by a pitch. And Seth Gray, the first baseman from Wright State, standing in. 295 batter with 10 runs driven in on the campaign. Luke from the stretch, ahead in the count once more. 96 clocked on that last fastball. An 0-2 count on Gray. Chevy went 3 innings in that last start late in June against Brewster, allowing 3 runs on 6 hits, walked 2 and struck out 2. Quick pick over to first to check on Barefoot. That young man has torn it up here out on the Cape, a .396 batter, leading the league in batting average. He takes his lead. The 0-2 hit off on the left side foul, another 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Chevalier.
How about that? He's pumping gas, Chevalier. We're seeing his MPH go up quite a bit from the first time he started the season when it was clocking in around the lower 90s.
6'1", he comes set, closed off out of the stretch. Lifts the leg, the 0-2, grounded weakly towards second. Taken by Wood, he'll throw to first, wayward, past the glove of Tolia. And that'll allow the runner to be safe. Barefoot tracks over to third base. And an error on Corey Wood with a bad throw extends the inning for Hyannis, first and third with 2 outs.
Those are the kind of mistakes that'll come back to bite you later in the game, especially with the dangerous Todd Lott coming up. Kind of a funky play to begin with because Tolia looked like, at first he thought he was going to take the ball, then Corey Wood called him off. Tolia was a bit out of position, so the play was kind of wayward from the start. Still a chance with 2 outs to get out of the inning with no Hyannis runs.
Gray reaching on the air, Barefoot on third. 2 outs for Todd Lott, who immediately punches a fly ball towards right, but it sinks right into the mitt of Will Robertson, who makes the catch for out number 3. So Luke Chevalier on the mound, working a scoreless first inning. No runs on no hits, 1 error, and 2 left for Hyannis, as the Kettleers will get their first chance at the plate. Coming up next, this is the Patriot Cup, Cotuit Kettleers baseball, here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Bottom of the first inning here at Lowell Park, and the Cotuit Kettleers getting their first chance of the day against the right-handers. Zach Cohn from Central Michigan. He'll be the starter for Hyannis. Mike Roberts in his 15th season will send out a starting lineup that sounds like this. Will Robertson leading off and playing in right field. Peyton Burdick is the center fielder who bats second. Thomas Dillard, the designated hitter, batting third. Mike Salvatore back in the cleanup spot. He's the shortstop. Michael Tolia, the first baseman, batting fifth. Brady Smith bats sixth and plays third base. It's Duke Ellis in left field batting seventh. Corey Wood, the second baseman, batting eighth. And Garrett Wolforth, the catcher, batting ninth to round out the order. Once again for the Kettleers, Robertson in right. Burdick in center. Dillard the DH. Salvi at short. Tolia the first baseman. Smith at third. Ellison left. Wood at second. And Wolforth the catcher along with starter Luke Chevalier, who worked around a hit batsman and an error in that top of the first inning. Now his offense will get a chance against Zach Cohn, the 6'4", 205-pound rising junior at Central Michigan University. The Detroit area kid hailing from Woodhaven, Michigan, as he gets the ball for Hyannis. 1-0 on the campaign, a 3.92 earned run average. Will Robertson leading off. Right fielder from Creighton bats from the left side as Cone from the stretch deals a first pitch fastball called for strike one. Will 0 for 5 in that lengthy 12-inning affair last night at Harwich. A walk and a run scored. The 0-1 offering, slider that runs upstairs to even the count. Cone, the right-hander, featuring a fastball, a changeup, slider, and a curveball as well in his arsenal. Shaking off his battery mate, Kyle Wilkie, now ready the 1-1. That dips down low. Robertson gets the advantage early, 2 balls and a strike. Hyannis starting defense, Davis Wenzel at third, Will Holland the shortstop, Taylor Garris at second, and Seth Gray the first baseman. The 2-1. Fastball missing low and away at 92 miles an hour. A 3-1 count on the Cotuit leadoff man. Matthew Barefoot playing in left field, Eric Rivera in center field, and Trevor Hauber is the right fielder. Kyle Wilkie, the catcher out of Clemson, working with Cone. His 3-1 missing way outside, and just like that, Will Robertson aboard. A 5-pitch leadoff walk here in the home half of the first.
Now 15 consecutive games with Will Robertson on base here at Lowell Park, getting things started nicely. There's been a big correlation this season between Kettleers' success offensively and walks, and that was especially true last time these two teams did battle at Hyannis, the 9-5 win for Cotuit. 13 Kettleer walks, and that got the party started early.
Here's Peyton Burdick, man on and nobody out, taking a sweeping curveball off the plate for ball one. 22 free passes in that last meeting between the two teams combined, 13 of them Hyannis walks. Pitching coach Jerry Weinstein for Cotuit saying it was one of the ugliest and worst baseball games he's ever witnessed.
Didn't you say, good game, coach?
He said that was one of the worst things I've ever seen. He was not happy.
It was not a thing of beauty. Not a thing of beauty, but a win.
Hyannis infield at double play depth. The 1-0 to Burdick, catching the inside part of the plate for strike one. Umpiring crew today, Pat Sparky Burns, the home plate man. It's Al Libardoni down at first base, and the third base umpire is Jay Dion in B position between second base and the mound, with Cone out of the stretch. Checking over on Robertson at first, a throw that took a one-hop, but a good scoop by Seth Gray over there. No score here at Lowell Park, bottom of the first inning. Peyton Burdick at the plate. Kettleers trying to take a lead. A win today would clinch their 6th Patriot Cup in 7 seasons. The 1-1, big cut and a miss, 91-mile-an-hour heater upstairs for strike two. Hyannis visiting today in the Road Blues. The orange letters and numerals script Hyannis across the front of the chest. White pants with a blue stripe down the side of the leg. The blue caps with the orange brim and the Harbor Hawk logo on the front. The 1-2 to Bird. Curveball called strike three on the outside corner. And Zach Cone with his first punch out of the ball game. Out number one here in the bottom of one.
Good pitch there from Zach Cone, just bending outside right on the zone, dropping it in nicely. And Bird looked fooled there.
Thomas Dillard, the new batter. He gets a chance here, number 3 man in the Cotuit lineup. Runner on first in Robertson, 1 out in the home half of 1. 0-0 ball game. Cone from the belt, kicks and deals. First pitch spotted on the outside corner for strike one. Dilly working on an 11-game hitting streak. It's kind of been a quiet hitting streak, but he's been seeing the ball well. A .260 batter with 3 home runs, 15 runs batted in. 1 for 4 with a 2-run double last night at Harwich. He takes a hard fastball away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, that double coming back in the 3rd inning. That gave Cotuit an early lead. It was on a full count, 2-out situation with 2 runners on. The runners in motion, and Dilly delivered down the right field line off the wall. Cone paying a lot of mind to Robertson over there at first base. He started with a 5-pitch walk. Burdick struck out looking, and here's Dillard at the plate, a 1-1 count with 1 out. Fastball, 94 miles an hour, on the corner for strike 2. And a 1-2 count in favor of the right-hander, Zach Cone from Central Michigan. Dillard, the switch hitter, batting from the left side here with that matte black finished wood bat. Tailing it back and forth above his left shoulder. Cone looks in, his 1-2. Hard fastball for strike 3. And once again, a Cotuit batter Looks for a backwards K. This time it's Dillard, and there are 2 down here in the home half of 1.
I know a big effort for Coach Roberts over these last couple games has been to get these guys to swing. He's always said, you swing, swing, swing your way out of offensive ruts. And he's not going to be too happy with 2 looking strikeouts. He wants his team to be aggressive and come out swinging early.
Runner on first with 2 away. Mike Salvatore drives one on the first pitch into the left center field gap. As Robertson speeds around second, he's held up at third. Salvi trying to go for 2, and he's gunned down from left field by Matthew Barefoot. The tag applied as the Kettleers make the final out of this inning on the base paths. Mike Salvatore with a base hit, but thrown out at second, trying to stretch it into a double. And just like that, the end of the first inning here at Lowell Park. Still no score between these 2 Barnstable rivals. When we come back, the second inning of play, you're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park, top of the second inning, 0-0 between Cotuit and Hyannis, as it will be 6, 7, and 8 here in the Hyannis lineup. Trevor Harbour, Eric Rivera, and Kyle Wilkie to face the right-hander Luke Chevalier. Chevy winds up and whips in a first pitch fastball for strike 1. Ahead in the count once again, and he'll work fast. That's his trademark. A quick windup, now the 0-1. On the outside corner, good slider that time. And just like that, Trevor Harbour down 0-2 in the count. Here's Chevy's 2-strike pitch. High chopper on the right side of the infield, dribbling towards the foul line, and it will get out of play about 3/4 up the first base line. As Chevalier comes off the mound to glove it, and we'll do an 0-2 again.
Smart play by Chevy to let that one roll foul, not get too aggressive. Trevor Harbour certainly had him beat, would have gotten the infield single, but Chevy letting it roll out. Still 0-2 count.
Kettleers ending the bottom of the first inning. Mike Salvatore with a base hit, but thrown out 7-4 by Matthew Barefoot to end the inning. Ground ball towards Salvatore at short. What a play, ranging to his left and throwing on to first for out number 1. That one went right through the legs, the wickets, if you will, of Luke Chevalier. Atlantic, who had himself a day last night. And he takes a pitch right in the back of his front thigh there. Changeup that did not find its way back over the plate from Chevalier, and that's the second hit batsman of the day. It'll give Hyannis a 1-out base runner in Rivera and move things along for Kyle Wilkie here in the second. Rivera last night in the win against Chatham, he went 5 for 5, his first home run of the season, with 3 runs batted in. Pretty crazy in a 12-run night for the Hyannis Harbour Hawks. He gets aboard for the 6th consecutive time here, getting the call on Chad Gassman's lineup. He's at first base, taking a big lead. Tolia holding on. Kyle Wilkie, the catcher, comes to the plate. Batting from the right side, closed off batting stance. First pitch from Chevy. Got the outside corner for strike 1. Outfield playing pretty far back. It's Ellis over there in left field, who's shading more towards the line. A pretty big gap in left center field. An 0-1 count on Wilkie. Chevalier from the stretch. Breaking pitch, lifted high. On the right side of the infield and in foul territory. Tolia's got it, 2 down. So good job from Chevalier to rebound from the hit batsman there, and he's 1 out away from finishing off this inning. Facing the number 9 batter, Taylor Garris, second baseman from Samford University in Birmingham, Alabama. He gets the call. 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run scored last night. Digging in with some red Nike cleats, representing the red, white, and blue of Samford U here on the Cape. There's the first pitch from Chevalier, high and away for ball 1. Nothing doing here in the second inning. No score. And remember, a very special guest coming up in the 4th inning to our broadcast booth. 2-time MLB All-Star Brian Roberts will be with us for a live interview during the broadcast. Of course, Brian, the son of Coach Mike Roberts, playing with the Orioles and the New York Yankees in his very good MLB career. We'll have him up in the booth in the 4th inning. Can't wait to have him. We'll be talking all kinds of baseball. Pick over to first to check on Rivera. But nothing doing. Pretty quiet crowd here at Lowell Park. Third base grandstand about 3/4 full. It's packed to the gills the last couple of days. The 1-0 in there. Nice curveball from Chevalier to even the count on Garris. Rivera taking his lead at first. He was a hit batsman with 1 out. 2 outs here in the second. The number 9 batter for Hyannis at the plate. Chevalier on the mound. Long pause from the stretch, and he'll step off the rubber. Sixth meeting between these two sides, the last one in the regular season, to decide the Patriot Cup. Kettleers 3-2 against Hyannis. A win today would make it 3 Patriot Cups in a row, as there's a pitch out with a 1-1 count. Garrett Woolforth, the new catcher today, coming up to Cotuit as a bullpen catcher and then activated a couple of days ago on the roster. Started as a DH in the home loss against Harwich on Tuesday. Here he is behind the plate against Hyannis. Chevalier another throw over to check on the speedy Rivera, but he dives back in safely. How about Garrett Woolforth getting a chance here in the lineup, especially on defense?
Such a hard worker. We always see him working with the pitchers, also in BP. Very few guys up and down this roster who hit batting practice bombs like this guy. I mean, he hit one over the monster. We saw a few disappear into the trees on the left side. He's a talent, and Coach Roberts very proud of the way he's worked his way to be starting at catcher today.
A 2-2 count now on Garris, who took a strike. 2 outs here in the second and a runner on. Chevalier, long look in, now the 2-2. Breaking pitch that's tapped high into the air, shallow center field. Burdick comes on, he makes the grab. We're out number 3, so the Kettleers doing a nice job behind Luke Chevalier here in the second. No runs for Hyannis, no hits, no errors, and a man left as we head to the bottom of 2. Kettleers another chance at the plate. When we come back, you're listening to Patriot Cup Game 6, Cotuit Kettleers baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Moving along as we bring it back for the bottom of the second inning. No runs on no hits and no errors for the visiting Hyannis Harbour Hawks. No runs on 1 hit And one error for the Cotuit Kettleers here at home. They left a couple in the first time up. And that'll make way for number 5 man, Michael Tolia, to lead things off, followed by Brady Smith and Duke Ellis due up here in this second inning. Zach Cohn, the right-hander's first pitch, tailed into left field, barefoot, running over into the shadows to make a catch. Out number 1 on Michael Tolia.
If you listen to our pregame interview with Coach Roberts, he said he's trying to make Tolia angrier. He said last summer there was a similar kind of adjustment back into the summer ball grind. He knows he's a good player, the talent is there, but he wants him to come to the plate and be angry and take hacks at the ball. He doesn't want to see lazy, soft fly balls. He wants to see him drive it, pull it down that right field line when he's batting from the left side. So we'll see how that progresses throughout today and the next couple games.
He flies to left there, and now Brady Smith, who takes a fastball up and away for ball 1. 1 out in the top, or bottom of 2 rather. No score between Cotuit and Hyannis. Smith at the plate, third baseman from Florida, who's 11 for his first 31 for the Kettleers. 2-0 count now as Cohn missing inside. Cotuit a chance to create a little positive momentum. They tied last night, their third tie of the season. 12 innings, a 3-3 game against Harwich. 2-0 on the outside corner for strike 1 against Smith. But they had lost 3 of 4 before that, and 2 in a row. It was the first time that they had been 2 games below 500, and now you get a positive result, a chance to win a Patriot Cup here against Hyannis. Fouled off the end of the bat by Smith, a 2-2 count. And you just get the sense that maybe one more late season push could be in the tank for the Kettleers. July hasn't been too kind to them. Just 5-7 in this month with a 5.43 earned run average, only batting .223 as a team. Those numbers way off from their start in June. As Smith takes an off-speed pitch off the plate, and that'll run the count full. 1 out here in the bottom of 2. Kettleers going 8-8 in June, a .248 team batting average, and a 3.59 ERA. So that's the big discrepancy there with the pitching. Almost a 2-run difference. 3-2 runs low and inside on Smith, and he'll jog down with a 1-out walk here in the bottom of 2.
Yeah, those June-July splits, not too kind for the Kettleers, but July ain't over yet. Still a chance to turn the tide, just the 19th of July. About a week and a half left, and then hopefully the Kettleers will be playing deep into August.
Only takes 1, really. You just got to get in, and then anything can happen. 4 of the 5 teams in each division make the postseason. Smith on with 1 out. Now Duke Ellis, who takes a strike. Hyannis infield will prepare for a double play, perhaps. Davis Wenzel, the third baseman, shading in towards the grass. Ellis always a little bit of a threat to bunt. He's laid down a sacrifice this season. Almost made it a bunt single on that same sacrifice. Very fleet-footed down the line, batting from the left side as well. The lanky left fielder from Texas at the plate. Smith at first. Here's the 0-1. Cohn missing outside. Maybe even thought pitch out there. 1-1. Little 2-game homestand as we bump up towards the weekend here at Lowell Park. Today against Hyannis, tomorrow against the Chatham Anglers, and then on the road on Saturday against the Wareham Gatemen for the final meeting against one of the West's top sides. Foul ball high and out of play on the left side from Ellis, who's down in the count 1-2.
This season's coming to a screeching halt. I mean, not quite yet, but it's crazy how fast time flies here on the Cape. Already 31 games in. Soon will be single digits to go.
Kettleers trying to make the most of it. They could start here with a Patriot Cup victory over Hyannis. Looking to make it a 10-4 series lead over the Harbor Hawks. Kettleers winning 9 cups before this game. The 1-2, Ellis slings it back foul towards the fencing here behind home plate. Zach Cohn, the right-hander from Central Michigan, came out of the Woodhaven area in Detroit as a number 10 prospect in Michigan, according to a Prep Baseball report. Found his way over to Mount Pleasant, playing for the Chippewas in the MAC. The 1-2, it's upstairs. Ball 2 on Ellis. Corey Wood is the batter on deck. He's a number 8 man, and then Matt Woolforth. Smith on first with a 1-out walk. The 2-2 from Cone. Hit high in the air once again, foul. There you hear the have a hit audio clip.
Is that you?
No, I think that's our good friend Al.
Al, right. I thought that was you.
No, that
Sounds
is not
just like
me.
you.
The 2-2 again. Check swing from Ellis. A ball called behind the plate. They'll appeal the check swing. Third base umpire Jay Dion says he does not go around, as that breaking pitch just went inside on Ellis. A 3-2 count now with 1 out here in the bottom of 2. Of course, Al, the lead cheerleader for the Kettleers, the hype man, student section leader, however you want to phrase it. Runner going with a full count. Ball 4 to Ellis. He lays off a fastball just low, and it's the second walk issued in this inning by Zach Cone, and he'll come and meet with his battery mate Kyle Wilkie and try and settle down. Now the Kettleers a great opportunity, 2 on, only 1 out, and Corey Wood coming to the plate.
I like how you describe Al as a hype man. He's a great hype man. If I were a rapper or some sort of performer, I would hire him as a hype man. He also, remember the 4th of July hitting contest? It was whoever hits the ball the farthest, and Al had that device to measure how many feet it goes.
The rangefinder.
So he was also doing that.
Yeah. Corey Wood takes a breaking pitch for ball 1. He was pinpointing every single ball that was hit in the outfield.
I'll never understand how that thing works. Looks like a pair of binoculars. It would tell him exactly how many yards every single ball went.
The 1-0 to Wood. Breaking pitch that sweeps inside, a 2-0 count, and now another mound visit.
Of course, now during the game, especially during an MLB game, every pitch you get a boatload of data.
The mound visit from catcher Kyle Wilkie, and now Ray Korn, the Hyannis pitching coach, will slowly walk out from the first base dugout. Checking out the starter and Zach Cone, the right-hander from Central Michigan, who we've seen out of the bullpen at times. He's making the start here today. That's why he likes to go out of the stretch with nobody on base. And they'll come together in conference. Of course, I would argue that Al is one of the hardest working guys during that 4th of July fun day here at Lowell Park. Looked like he was one of the Star Wars rebels at the Battle of Hoth trying to scout out the AT-ATs from long range with those binoculars.
Right on. Right on. Yeah. That was a fun event. The Landis family, they always come out. They had a whole mafia, pretty much. 15 people. Seems like they've won it the last few years. Got another victory this year.
After the mound visit, 2 on with 1 out, and the 2-0 is way outside to Wood. He's worked a 3-ball and no strike count. And the Kettleers trying to take advantage of Zach Cone, who's a little shaky here in this second inning. Scoreless ball game, and the right-hander struggling with his control. The 3-0, that wasn't even close. Ball 4 to Corey Wood, and he's walked the bases loaded. All 3 Kettleers on board, thanks to free passes. Loaded him up for Garrett Woolforth, the catcher from Dallas Baptist in his second start of the year. He'll look for his first Cotuit hit, and what a spot to try and do it.
Absolutely. Good chance for him to assert himself here. Bases loaded, 1 out, a huge chance for him. A guy we know has a lot of pop in his bat. Only 3 or 4 appearances at the plate this season for Cotuit, and a big chance for Garrett.
Bases loaded with 1 out here in the bottom of 2. First pitch to Woolforth, off the plate for ball 1. As Zach Cone struggling in every way conceivable. He's thrown 7 consecutive balls. 3 walks with 1 out. The bases filled up, Hyannis with the corners in. The 1-0. Called strike on the outside corner. Pat Burns behind the plate, giving Cone a much-needed strike to level up the count on Woolforth. Mike Roberts chirping from the third base dugout saying, don't help him out. The 1-1. That misses in the other box. just off the tip of the glove from Wilkie, a 2-1 count.
They don't need umpiring help. Let's go.
They don't need umpiring help is the cry from third base coach Mike Roberts. Saying, don't help him out, Pat, on a first-name basis with the long-time umpire. Nickname is Sparky. The 2-1 down low at the shins of Woolforth, 3-1 to count.
I love that. We need to go down and ask him at some point where he got that nickname, because every time we see on the write-up, we go next door to Roy Reese, our PA announcer, go to his booth, take a picture of the roster card. He always has Pat Sparky Burns.
Bases loaded, 1 out, the 3-1. Woolforth punching one down the left field line. That ball down at the wall. Woolforth breaks through. His first Kettleer hit will be a 2-run double here in the second. And just like that, the Kettleers an early lead here in Patriot Cup Game 6.
There we go, Garrett. His first hit, it's a big one. Almost a bases clearing double. Mike Roberts thought for a second about sending Corey Wood around, but then held him up. Good job from Woolforth. Opposite field hitting. Slicing that one very nicely into the corner. A job well done, and we know the Kettleers in this series, when they get the lead, they often stick with it, whichever team gets the lead first. So job well done that time.
It's Woolforth with a 2-run double here with 1 out in the bottom of the second. 2-0 Cotuit. Will Robertson the batter, and he launches the first pitch foul down the right field line. Just a little out in front for strike 1. Coach Mike Roberts must be very pleased with the kid from Dallas Baptist in his second game, a big double to bring home 2. Robertson at the plate, runners on second and third. The 0-1, dipping inside for ball 1. Of course, folks, don't forget, Coach Mike Roberts' son, Brian Roberts, joining us in the booth for the 4th inning of action. We'll have a live interview with the 2-time MLB All-Star, former Baltimore Oriole and New York Yankee. 1-1 down in the dirt, blocked nicely by Wilkie, a 2-1 count on Robertson. This is where he thrives at the plate, runners in scoring position. Just 1 out here in the bottom of 2, 2-0, Kettleers on top. Leadoff man with a walk to start this game back in the first. Cones 2-1, missing high and away, and a 3-1 count. Garrett Woolforth, 2-run double down the left field line to make it 2-0 Kettleers. And the Ketts looking to add on more. Just 1 out, 2 in scoring position, the 3-1 offering. Hit back foul towards the parking lot. Kettleers win scoring first this season. 8-3-1, if you include the tie against Harwich yesterday. As Sam mentioned, they've done a nice job against Hyannis in that regard. The full count pitch, golfed into right field. That's a base hit, Will Robertson. Wood comes home to score. Harbour having trouble with it in right. Woolforth will come home to score as well. And it's 4-0 Kettleers. Will Robertson delivering with the base hit.
Awesome job. Keep the line moving, empty the base paths, and occupy second. Good job from Robertson. That was a nice fastball low and inside, turning his hands nicely to send it into right field, and then trouble in right from Trevor Harbour. Looks like it's going to be marked an error. So a single for Will Robertson, advancing on the error from Harbour in right, allowing 2 runs to come in. And this inning far from over. Still just 1 out.
So scored a 2-run single for Robertson, and he advances to second on an E9. Trevor Harbour had trouble with that ball in right field. 4-0 Ketts here in the bottom of 2. Peyton Burdick at the plate, and he slices one in the air down the right side of the infield and foul ground. Underhanded catch by his Wright State teammate in Seth Gray, and that's out number 2.
Saw those two chatting it up alongside Zane Collins before today's game. The Wright State Raiders out here on the Cape.
So a much-needed second out for Zach Cohn on the mound, but it's Cotuit who have an early lead. 4-0 here in the bottom of the second inning. Runner on second with 2 outs, and now Thomas Dillard at the plate. 0 for 1 with a strikeout, looking his first time. First pitch from Cohn, hit hard down the left field line and out of play, foul.
Right-hander warming up in the Hyannis pen. This might be the last we see of Cone today. He hasn't looked right from a control perspective with the 4 walks. Also, Kettleers, in this inning at least, hitting everything in the zone with the 2 big base hits.
The 0-1 lifted in the air towards left field. Down the line, barefoot chugging towards it in foul ground. He slides but is unable to make the catch. Would have been a fantastic effort, but Dillard stays alive as that ball drops in the grass. An 0-2 count. 4 runs already home here in the home half of the second inning for Cotuit. 2-run double by Garrett Woolforth. 2-run single by Will Robertson, who reached up to second base on an error. That's where he stands. Thomas Dillard at the plate. And another mound visit. Kyle Wilkie coming out to talk with Zach Cone, who just has not looked right from the beginning of this inning. 3 consecutive walks with 1 out to load the bases, and the Kettleers have taken advantage from there.
No, he hasn't, and we got to remember this is a guy who isn't necessarily used to starting. 6 relief appearances on the season, just 1 start. So being in this position, much like we saw with Tom Sutera yesterday for Harwich, kind of unfamiliar ground.
The 0-2, called strike 3 on the outside corner. Dillard didn't like the call, but it'll end up finishing off this inning as we head to the 3rd. The Kettleers pounce out on Hyannis. 4 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left in scoring position as we head to the 3rd. Here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network, Sam Brief with the play-by-play when we return.
Back here at Lowell Park, top of the 3rd, Kettleers on top, 4-zip against their Patriot Cup rivals in the Hyannis Harbour Hawks. 4 runs on that inning on 2 hits. The big 2 RBI double from Garrett Woolforth, and then a 2 RBI single from Will Robertson. And the Kettleers off to a hot start. 0-1 count now to the leadoff man, Davis Wenzel. The Baylor Bear working against Luke Chevalier. This one fouled back, an 0-2 count. Chevalier has been sharp, no runs, no hits. So far, just 3 base runners today for Hyannis. 2 hit by pitches and an error. Here's the 0-2 to Wenzel. Swinging a high pop-up in shallow left field. Playable for Salvatore. He reaches up and makes the catch. There's 1 away in the 3rd.
A nice job by Luke Chevalier right out of the gate here for the Kettleers. Pitching to his brand, working fast, throwing strikes, getting ahead of guys, making them swing at stuff that they don't want to swing at. He does a nice job retiring Wenzel. He really breezed through the first 9 in this order. Just a couple of hit batsmen and an error were the only things that scathed him, and he's done a nice job. Spotted a 4-0 lead early on at home.
First pitch to Will Holland is a strike on the outside corner. Holland, the Auburn Tiger, starting shortstop today for Hyannis. And he sees strike 2. Good breaking pitch on the inside corner. An 0-2 count. Holland, one of the better hitters this season for Hyannis. .333. 0 for 1 today with the flyout. As the little shortstop digs back in. Now here's the 0-2 from Chevy. And it ricochets off the helmet of Holland. And now Mike Roberts coming out of the dugout screaming that's a foul ball. Maybe it hit the bat of Will Holland, and just like that, the umpires will convene to talk this one over. It definitely hit something. And now you hear in the background Pat Sparky Burns, our home plate umpire, saying foul ball off the bat. So what looked initially like it might have got a piece of the helmet also hit the bat, a foul ball. So an 0-2 count. Good protest there from Mike Roberts. You know he has a point when he's storming out of the dugout right away. So no balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 4-0 Kettleers on top of the Harbor Hawks here in the top of 3. Will Holland at the dish. 5'11", 185-pound shortstop, a little dude from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Working against the Cotuit native Chevalier. Here's Chevy's 0-2. Tapped back foul. And we stay pat with that count. Good for the Kettleers to get a start like this against Hyannis. This season when Hyannis leads after 5 innings, they're 15-0. Not a team that gives up leads. But Cotuit with the early advantage. 0-2 to Holland. Fights this one off foul. Count stays pat. Good fight off the breaking ball. Beautiful, beautiful day here in Cotuit. Just perfect weather. 75 degrees. Sun shining. One tiny little cloud in the sky hanging over left field. Other than that, picture perfect as the 0-2 comes in high and tight. A 1-2 count. Dare I say, this is the best weather we've had all year for a game.
Yeah, this is up there with a few of them. This 75 degrees and clear sunny skies. Can't really beat that.
1-2 to Holland. Again, popped foul out of play over near the first base side. Count stays pat. Sun shining over the green trees in the outfield, painting them picture perfect on a beautiful day here at Lowell Park as the Kettleers will look to hoist the Barnstable Patriot Cup for the 6th time in 7 years, given annually to the winner of this series, the 2 Barnstable rivals. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and an out. Here's Chevy's offering. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Bring him up. Luke Chevalier gets Will Holland, and he's been totally solid. Now 2 outs in the 3rd.
Nice job going to the slider away there after a lot of foul balls on fastballs and got him to chase out of the zone with 2 strikes. A very nice job by Luke Chevalier.
Now Matthew Barefoot at the plate. So if you're not familiar out there with the Patriot Cup that we keep referring to, every year the winner of this series gets it. 6 games each year between these West Division rivals as strike 1 comes into Barefoot. Whoever wins the most games gets the Patriot Cup, and 5 out of the last 6 years it's been Cotuit. Now a flare off the bat of Barefoot that drops into right field, a base hit right in front of Will Robertson. And Matthew Barefoot has extended his league-leading hitting streak to 22 games. Nothing flashy that time, just a little nubber off the bat, but 2 hops into right for a 2-out single.
This kid's just incredible. He just finds ways to get on. He's nearly got a 500 OBP at 496. He's already reached twice today with the hit bat by a pitch. His first time up and just a little bloop single into right.
Seth Gray up next. Ball 1 high and tight. So the Kettleers, even if they weren't to win today, would probably still get the Patriot Cup. The season series would then end in a 3-3 tie. The first tiebreaker is whichever team allows the fewest runs within the series. And so far this season, Cotuit's allowed 9 fewer runs than Hyannis. So unless the Harbor Hawks were to come back and win this game 14-4 or something like that, the Patriot Cup will almost certainly stay here. As the 1-0 comes into Gray, high chopper left side. Salvatore gloves it and fires to Tolia at first. For out number 3, Luke Chevalier still sitting pretty. It's 4-0 Kettleers as we head to the home half of the 3rd, right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. It's 4-0 Kets over the Harbor Hawks. Sam Brief, Sam Niederman here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Hope you're having a lovely Thursday afternoon wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us. And it's been a hot start for Cotuit, who has 4 runs on 3 hits. No runs on 1 hit for the visiting Harbor Hawks. Mike Salvatore, Michael Tolia, Brady Smith, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters due up. And here's the cleanup man, Mike Salvatore, facing Zach Cohn, who fires in a first pitch strike. Cohn has had a shaky start so far, with 4 walks today. Of course, he's given up the 4 runs. But Chad Gassman sticking with his guy here as Salvatore ropes one off to the third base side when Zell collects and throws to first to get a quick out, number 1. There was action in the Harbor Hawk bullpen at the end of the 2nd inning. No action at the moment. And Zach Cohn's still the man out there to face off against Michael Tolia. And fans, make sure to stick around if you're going to go out for lunch, or it's not lunch, it's 5:50. If you're going to go out to dinner or leave the house or leave wherever you are watching or listening, hope you can stick around for the 4th inning. Very special guest, Brian Roberts, 2-time MLB All-Star with the Baltimore Orioles, also a year with the New York Yankees. He will join us here in the broadcast booth. Brian, of course, the son of our head coach, Mike Roberts. He'll be on for the entire 4th inning. Very excited to have him as the 0-1 comes into Tolia on the outside corner, called for strike 2. An 0-2 count to Big Mike, who's 0 for 1 today with a fly out to left. He's got an 0-2 count with 1 out. Here's the delivery. It's outside for ball 1. Tolia had a private batting practice session before today's game with Coach Roberts, working on his swing, trying to drive the ball. That was what Coach Roberts was emphasizing. He wants to see those line drives as the 1-2 is outside. Bringing up the count to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Coach wants Tolia to play angry. And we'll see if Michael can deliver the anger here with his team up 4-0. Cone ready. 2-2. Swung on, driven high in the air. Right side, playable for Trevor Hauver, the right fielder, who tiptoes in. High points the catch, and there's 2 away.
Is your eating schedule messed up, saying people eat lunch at 5:50? We were talking about it with Roy earlier today.
Yeah.
Are you eating enough? Are you sleeping? Are you rested?
Yeah, I'm fine. My eating schedule's a little off because now it just revolves around the ball game.
Yeah.
It's not really lunch and dinner. It's just pregame and postgame.
Yeah.
Meal. First pitch to Brady Smith, tailed off foul. Right? It's breakfast, a mid-morning snack, pregame, postgame, regardless of the time. But it's also sunny out. So if you just drop me here, I could maybe think it's 2 o'clock, tail end of lunchtime. Here's the 0-1 to Brady Smith. He cuts right through it, an 0-2 count. Are you a brunch fan?
Yeah.
I've always had controversy with some of my friends about the use of the word brunch. I feel sometimes it's used in place of breakfast when it is just breakfast.
Well,
a later discussion. 0-2 to Brady Smith is low. Ball 1. Zach Cohn thought it was strike 3. He was halfway off the mound, but he'll step back on the rubber for the 1-2 with 2 outs.
I tend to think of brunch as a late breakfast.
Okay.
Closer to lunchtime than typical.
Yeah.
Past 11 a.m.
1-2 Brady Smith tapped up the middle. A base hit. It rolls into center field. Brady Smith will hold up at first. And some 2-out hitting for the Kettleers. A man aboard here in the 3rd.
Nice job by Brady Smith protecting the plate with 2 strikes. Just a little poke, and he's been one of the better Kettleers hitters as of late. That's his 12th hit of the season, coming in late from Florida. He's reached base twice today and keeping the inning alive for Duke Ellis.
So here's Duke Ellis. A run scored today off a walk. He looks at strike 1 outside. Not a fan of that call. He does a little back bend. The tall lefty outfielder from Texas has 12 walks on the season coming in, now 13. Runner at first, Brady Smith, both hands on his knees as he takes the lead and watches ball 1 sail into his teammate Ellis. 1-1 count, 2 outs. It's 4-0 Kettleers here in the bottom of the third. Good start for Cotuit in leg 6 of the Patriot Cup series. 1-1 to number 1-1. Outside, ball 2. Hyannis coming into this one red hot. 4 wins in a row. There's ball 3 to Ellis. Cotuit over their last 7. The Kettleers have struggled 1-4-2. So 2 teams right now at least trending in opposite directions. But of course in this league and in a Western Division race like this, all that really matters is how you're trending when early August comes around. 3-1 to Ellis. Swung on, chopped right back to the pitcher, Cone. He gloves it. Short underhand toss to the first baseman, Gray, and there's out number 3. Still 4-0 Cotuit as we head to the 4th. Brian Roberts will join us. Stick around. We'll be right back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Kettleers on top 4-0 as Luke Chevalier is back on to work the 4th. And we're joined by a very special guest in the broadcast booth, Brian Roberts, 2-time MLB All-Star, played for 13 seasons with the Baltimore Orioles and New York Yankees, son of Cotuit head coach Mike Roberts. Welcome into the booth, Brian.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
Ball 1 comes into Todd Lott. So let's start with your father, Mike Roberts. Tell us a bit about what your relationship has been with him and how he shaped you as a player, because we know he had a lot of success as a speedy player, base running, and those, of course, were in your wheelhouse.
Well, I certainly think that I never would have played in the big leagues had it not been for my dad. And having a coach for a dad, and certainly someone who, knows the game extremely well.
High fly ball off the bat of Lott is going to be caught in center field by Peyton Burdick for 1 out.
So he taught me the fundamentals, which I'm not a real big guy, 5'8", 170 pounds. And in order to play, I think, at the major league level at that size, not that size is everything, but you need to have good fundamentals. And I think you look at the guys like, say, Dustin Pedroia and Jose Altuve and the guys that are more that size, they know how to play the game very well, and their fundamentals are very sound. They certainly have some, God-given ability in there as well, but he taught me the little nuances and the aspects of the game, and of course, just the time and effort that he put into working with me all the time I'm very grateful for.
High hit off the bat of Trevor Hauver, third base side, foul territory, caught by Brady Smith. There's a quick 2 outs. Now, also, can't help but notice you got a nice tan going. Are you coming from a tropical destination?
Yeah, we live in Sarasota, Florida now,
okay.
And we moved there when I was with the Orioles. Our spring training, the first 8 years or so, 10 years of my career was in Fort Lauderdale, and then we moved over to Sarasota on the other coast, the west coast of Florida, and we kind of fell in love with it, and that's where we've settled in.
And is that because I know Orioles spring training is right around there in Sarasota?
When our spring training moved there in 2010 when I was with the Orioles, and that was kind of my first real taste of Sarasota, and we bought a place there, and have now established roots and family and everything else, and we like it a lot.
So, of course, you had a very successful pro career, 2-time All-Star, successful college career. You played here in the Cape in '98 for Chatham, but tell us about your first Cape League memory, because I think it was all the way back when your dad was the Wareham coach.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was, I think he was here in like 82 and 83, I believe, right around there. And so I was about 5 or 6 years old, and my dad always likes to tell the story that Walt Weiss was one of the players on his team at North Carolina as well as in the Cape, and he always tells the story that Walt was at our house one morning and my mom had made like a dozen eggs or something and put them out on the table, and Walt thought it was his entire plate, so he just took the whole plate. It was for everybody, but he ate the whole thing. But
12?
Yeah, I think so.
Man.
But I fell in love with the Cape. I don't remember a lot about then, but certainly in '98 is when I really fell in love with Cape Cod, having the opportunity to play in Chatham, and we were fortunate enough to win the championship that year and kind of experience some of the things that a lot of people here in Cotuit have had the opportunity to experience when they've won the championship. And it's just a great league when you take the family atmosphere with host parents living in these quaint towns, and the opportunity to use wood bats, and just the tradition here is really phenomenal.
So what was your experience like out in Chatham? I know you guys won the title. That still is the last title out there in Chatham. You were at North Carolina and South Carolina. How much of a growing experience was that Cape League experience for you?
It was huge. After my freshman year, I went and played on the USA team, and I enjoyed that tremendously. But then after my sophomore year, I decided, I really think I should go up to the Cape and use a wood bat for a summer. And obviously kind of thought I was going to be drafted relatively high, and felt like that would be the most beneficial. Would be to get up here and play with that. And I didn't do that great. I don't remember for sure, but I think I hit maybe 230. So it was a learning experience. And in college, you're used to hitting like 350. And so there was a lot of trials through it all, but a great experience in the end.
Here's a fly ball off the bat of Kyle Wilkie with the runner at first. Will Robertson, the right fielder, charges in and catches it at his chest for out number 3. A walk for Luke Chevalier in that inning, but he gets out unscathed. Still 4-0 Kettleers. We'll be back with more Brian Roberts in the bottom of the 4th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. It's 4-0. Ketts on top of the Harbor Hawks as we enter the 4th. Zach Cohn back on as the pitcher for Hyannis. He'll face Corey Wood, Garrett Wolforth, and Will Robertson in this inning. And we're still joined by our special guest, Brian Roberts, 2-time MLB All-Star with the Baltimore Orioles, son of head coach Mike Roberts. And Brian, we just left off talking about your experience in Chatham. Now, also in college, you started at North Carolina when your dad was the head coach there. What was it like for you to play there under the guidance of your own dad?
It was a pretty special experience. I mean, I was already used to him being my coach for
sure. Right.
No, it wasn't like that was anything new all that much. He didn't coach a lot of my teams just because of time restrictions with his job, but he was certainly my coach no matter what. And, there's certainly some difficult part to playing for your dad at that level. You want your teammates to look at you as a peer and not necessarily as coach's son or that sort of thing. So there were those kind of aspects that you have to navigate through when you're a coach's son at that level. But all in all, it was a phenomenal experience. UNC Chapel Hill is near and dear to my heart. I think it's a phenomenal college town and a great opportunity for anyone that gets a chance to go.
0-2 to Corey Wood is in there, called for strike 3. Wood doesn't like it, but there's out number 1 here in the 4th. Kett's still up 4-0 here with Brian Roberts.
Brian, you had such a long career in the MLB, so you've obviously seen a lot of pitchers. I'm always curious when I talk to former players, who had some of the best stuff that you ever faced at the plate? What was the best pitcher that you saw in your time?
Oh, man. When you kind of range over 13 or 14 years, it kind of varies through the years. But early in my career, I would say the big names that everyone would kind of come to mind, certainly here in Boston, one of them being Pedro Martinez, another being Curt Schilling, Randy Johnson, all those guys from the American League East. And in those times were really tough early in my career. A little bit later on, as those names started to change, it became, the Roy Halladay's, the Justin Verlanders, Felix Hernandez out in Seattle. All those guys, just, you're talking about high velocity, plus off-speed pitches, and it's just difficult. I mean, hitting 96, 97 mile an hour is hard enough. When they can throw it, a changeup that looks the same at 90, it makes it even tougher.
Has the game changed in your estimation after being away from it? We get all this talk about launch angle, velocity. What have you seen in that regard?
1-2 to Woolforth is chopped over to the first base side and scooped for the 3 unassisted putout. There's 2 away in the 4th.
Oh, the game has changed dramatically since 2001 when I got called up to the big leagues. And it changed even in my time, just from shifting towards the end of my career and things like that to advanced metrics and so much more advanced scouting, things like that. The launch angle stuff, all of, just the metrics and everything, all the information that is out there nowadays makes it so much different than 15 years ago.
Fly ball off the bat of Robertson, caught in center by Rivera for out number 3. And one more question for you, because you spent so much time in Baltimore and then the last season of your career in New York. Obviously, the Yankees franchise, always under a microscope. How different was it playing for a franchise like the Yankees versus being used to the Orioles?
Well, it was different just because I was used to them being the enemy for 13, 14 years. And but it was a great experience to go over there and play on one of the most storied franchises in all of pro sports anywhere in the world. And you see the expectation that comes along with being a New York Yankee. And I would have loved to spend my whole career as an Oriole, but if it didn't go that way, I felt honored and privileged to be able to put that uniform on and say that I was a Yankee at some point as well, just because of the storied history. And certainly it comes with a lot of pressure, it comes with a lot of scrutiny, but I had an opportunity to play with Derek Jeter in his last year, and that was just phenomenal to be able to play with someone like that and experience his last year.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Brian, former New York Yankee, former Baltimore Oriole, here in Cotuit with his wife Diana, his sons Nash and Jax, who we saw hitting it all over the park earlier today. So maybe he's the 3rd in the family line.
We'll see. We shall see if I can not screw him up too bad, maybe.
I'm sure you won't. I'm sure you won't. Thank you so much, Brian. Still 4-0 Kettleers. We head to the 5th. We'll be back right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Here we are, top of the 5th in Cotuit, 4-0 Kettleers over Hyannis, and Luke Chevalier still in command on the mound. Another first pitch strike in there to Taylor Garris, number 9 man that'll lead things off, followed by Davis Wenzel, and then Will Holland. Chevy on the move, another fastball, fouled off this time by Garris. No balls and 2 strikes as we begin the 5th. Another big thank you to Brian Roberts, 2-time Major League Baseball All-Star with the Baltimore Orioles and the son of Coach Mike Roberts, joining us in the 4th inning. A great on-air interview. Appreciate his time. So good to see him here and around Lowell Park. 1-2 count on Garris, and now time called behind home plate by the umpire Pat Sparky Burns. Kettleers with a comfortable 4-0 lead early in this one. A 4 spot coming in the bottom of 2. The 1-2 got him on a good slider. Backwards K. Luke Chevalier
retiring the leadoff man here in the 5th. That's his 3rd strikeout of the day. And looking good really early on here today, Sam.
Yeah, how about Chevy today? This is reminding me a lot of his first start of the season, which was exactly a month ago, actually, against the Orleans Firebirds. He was excellent there in the jungle at Eldridge Park, and he looks really sharp today.
Big swing and a miss from Davis Wenzel. Pulled the string on him. Nice curveball from Chevalier. And ahead in the count, no balls and 1 strike. 1 out in the top of 5. Kettleers with a 4-run lead. Chevalier, another curveball that drops in, 0-2 the count. The right-hander that grew up in Cotuit, Sturgis Charter School, playing his high school ball right here at Lowell Park. The 0-2, swinging curve just down in the zone, taken by Wenzel for ball 1. Chevalier keeping Hyannis quiet today, 4 1/3, only allowing 1 hit and just a handful of base runners. The 1-2 sent in the air, sinking towards shallow left center field. That gets into the gap. This will be extra bases for Davis Wenzel, who coasts into second base with a 1-out double here in the 5th.
Good hit there for Wenzel, and that's really the first good hard contact today off of Chevalier. Second hit, the first was back in the 3rd. Barefoot's hit was just that little flare, kind of poked, nothing too impressive. Other than that hit from Wenzel, really no hard contact off of Chevy, which speaks to how sharp he's been. 3rd time around the order, that's when things can get dicey with any young pitcher. So we'll see if he can keep Hyannis under control.
Davis Wenzel with that double, his 14th extra base hit of the season. That ties Danny Casals of Harwich for the most in the Cape League. Now Will Holland, who takes a changeup upstairs for ball 1. Runner on second base for Hyannis. 1 out in the top of the 5th inning. Kettleers in front, 4-0. Chevalier looking in, gets the sign, now comes set from the stretch. Kicking and dealing, the 1-0 up at the letters for ball 2. Shadows casting across third base on the infield, also into parts of deep left field. Everything else in the sun here at Lowell Park. First of 2 consecutive home games here at the end of this mid-July week. The 2-0, ground ball towards 3rd. Bouncing, Smith has it. Strong throw for out number 2.
This looks very sharp over there at third base. It's a revolving door for the Kettleers, and both of the previous third basemen are now off the Cape because of injury. Eric Jones had to leave the Kettleers to get surgery for a torn labrum. Ryan Reynolds just now having to be released by the Kettleers due to a nagging back injury. So now Brady Smith is going to be the lead man at third base. He moves well, gloves it well, hasn't made an error over there yet. So until he proves me wrong, I like it.
2 outs and a man on second for Matthew Barefoot, who cuts 1 foul on the right side. Kettleers employing a shift for Barefoot. 3 infielders on the left side, the second baseman Corey Wood playing where the shortstop Mike Salvatore normally would. Salvi in the hole, and then Smith hugging the line at 3rd. The 0-1, fended off foul behind home plate by Barefoot, and Chevy ahead in the count, 0-2. Michael Tolia is the Lone Ranger over on the right side, playing about a 1/3 off the first base bag. Outfield is straight up. 2 down here in the 5th. Kettleers 4-0 over Hyannis here in Game 6 of this Patriot Cup. The 0-2, breaking pitch, hit in the air, foul once more on the right side, and Barefoot continuing to battle. The left fielder of Campbell University, who has come on as a surprise here in the Cape League, leading the league in batting average, extending his 22-game hit streak back in the 3rd inning with a flare single to right. The 0-2 upstairs at the shoulders to change the eye level, ball 1. Wenzel, a double with 1 out. He's at second base. 2 down here in the 5th. Kettleers with a shift on the left side of the infield. Chevalier from the stretch. Another foul ball from Barefoot. That time a changeup, and he was just able to top it off the bat. Of course, Luke Chevalier making just his 3rd start of the season here in mid to late July. Starting rotation has been shuffled. No more John Baker, the Kettleers ace that finished with the 2nd most strikeouts in the Cape League and most starts before his exit, being shut down as he heads back to Muncie, Indiana and Ball State. The 1-2 ripped into deep left center field from Barefoot. Burdick on the run, diving effort, he won't get there. The ball drops into the gap. A 2-out double from Barefoot to drive home Wenzel. And Hyannis with their first run of the ball game to cut it down to a 4-1 game.
How about this Matthew Barefoot? So impressive this season, the 22-game hit streak. His batting average will be up to 400 probably by the end of this day, already 2 for 2. He's been the best hitter on the Cape for a guy from Campbell University that not many people had heard of. He hadn't been heavily scouted. He's making a good name for himself here, and a good lick that time.
Barefoot driving in his 20th run on the campaign. A 2-out RBI double to deep left center as Wenzel comes home to score. The first run given up by Luke Chevalier today. 4-1 the score. Kettleers still with the lead. Now Seth Gray, who takes a hard fastball at the knees for strike one. Gray grounding out to shortstop his last time up. First baseman from Wright State with a chance to maybe cut it in half here. As the 0-1 ripped towards Tolley at first, who takes it. An L3 to end the inning. And Luke Chevalier getting out of it just fine, allowing the 1 run. Matthew Barefoot the RBI double. But we head to the home half of the 5th with Cotuit still on top, 4-1. We'll be right back with the Kets at the plate when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Swing from Burdick for strike one. Kettleers with the 4 spot in the second inning. Hyannis scoring their first run of the day. Matthew Barefoot the 2-out RBI double in the top half of this 5th inning. There's another hit batsman on the day, and this time it'll be a Cotuit play. Breaking pitch that ran in on the front thigh of Peyton Burdick, and he'll trot down and take first base to lead off the bottom of the 5th. Kettleers leading the Cape League in hit batsmen, and there you see it again, the first one of the day.
It's not even close at this point, almost comical. 41 hit batsmen for the Kettleers. No one else has more than 30 on the season.
Thomas Dillard, the batter, takes fastball on the outside corner for strike one. Burdick on first base. Kettleers with a 3-run pad here in this bottom of the 5th inning. Cotuit trying to make it 3 Patriot Cup victories in a row if they can wrap up this season series with a win over Hyannis. Cone will step off, the right-hander, at 6'4" from Central Michigan. Ran into some trouble in the second, but he's settled in okay. The 0-1 right in the same spot for strike 2 on Dilly. He's had a tough day at the plate. 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts, both of them looking. Mike Roberts, the third base coach, saying, come on, let's adjust to it right here. As Dillard, the switch hitter batting from the left side, looks to protect. Quick throw back to first to check on Burdick, who's able to hop in safely. Middle infield duo of Holland and Garris shading towards the bag. Runner going as Dillard just able to get a piece of it foul. Looked like a hit and run was on there. but the count remains 0-2. After the foul ball, Dillard digs back in, twirls the bat a couple of times. Now Cohn's set. The big right-hander, a deep breath, and steps off the rubber. Burdick about 8 feet off the first base bag, just standing still, not even deciding to go back to the bag. Now he'll step out. The 0-2. Off the plate, ball 1. Bird, just a very modest lead over there at first base. Not even taking a secondary. Just jabbing that front right foot. He was working with Brian Roberts, the son of Coach Roberts, the former major leaguer, on base running earlier today. A 2-2 count on Dillard as Cohn misses with a fastball. Him, Will Robertson, and Duke Ellis convened at the second base bag and learned some good base running techniques from Brian Roberts, and that was one of the big trades of his game. We talked to him back in the 4th inning, a great interview.
And also he was working with Dillard and Tolia Woolforth, some of the switch hitters, because Roberts was a switch hitter in the major, so giving some tips to the Kets switch hitters.
The 2-2, breaking pitch in the dirt, and Dilly just able to lay off it. Tempting, but it runs the count full.
I mean, how nice is that? As a base runner, to have a guy who still holds the South Carolina school record, 67 stolen bases in a season. To have him give you counsel, that's invaluable advice. As a hitter, to have a 2-time All-Star just around, chirping at you while you're taking BP, little tips here and there. Kind of stuff goes a long way.
And of course, his father, Mike Roberts, the base-stealing guru here in the Cape League. He stands at third, the 3-2. What an at-bat by Thomas Dillard. He takes a fastball off the plate. That time he's able to adjust from 0-2 to a walk, and he'll go down to first base. First 2 runners aboard here in the bottom of 5 for the Kettleers, and now Mike Salvatore.
Yeah, good job, Thomas Dillard, working that one all the way back. He's been a walk machine this year, now 19 on the season, 4th on the Cape. Always patient on that 11-game hit streak, as you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. He's been quietly humming along really nicely for the Kettleers, and now a chance to really stamp on the Harbor Hawks. That's been the issue. You got to step on the throat. Mike Salvatore, time to step.
No outs, 2 on. First pitch to Salvi. Bunt on the right side. Nicely done. The sacrifice executed by Salvatore as the throw to first is in time from Cohn off the mound. 1-3 on the sacrifice bunt. Both runners advance. Dillard to second, Burdick to third. Textbook Mike Salvatore.
Really good job. A lot of these little Kettleer players have done a nice job with the sacrifices this season. Salvatore, Zach Humphreys, Bo Brundage before he had to leave after signing the contract with the Rays. And looks like that's all she wrote for Zach Cohn as Chad Gassman comes out for a chat.
Chad Gassman points to deep right field towards the visiting bullpen, and Hyannis will have a pitching change. That'll be it for their starter, only lasting 4 1/3 innings. He exits this game with Cotuit in front, 4-1. We'll have the new Hyannis pitcher when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The Kettleers have chased the Hyannis starter out of this game. That is it for Zach Cohn, who only lasts 4 1/3 innings, allowing 4 runs on 4 hits, 5 walks, 4 strikeouts. He was responsible for the 2 runners in scoring position. 1 out, and Mike Mockma, the right-hander, on out of the pen. And the first pitch whipped into right field from Michael Tolia. Burdick comes home to score, and the Kettleers answer with an RBI single from Michael Tolia to make it a 5-1 game.
Good job, Tolia, driving into the ball real well, sending it into right. Hard hit ball, first pitch sends a nice message, and the Kets get some pad.
So just like that, 1 pitch and 1 more run that you can add to the total for Zach Cohn. The RBI single for Michael Tolia. Mike Mockma out of the pen, the right-hander from Michigan State. We've seen him plenty of times this season, 6'7", 240 pounds, from Holland Christian High School in Holland, Michigan. The Spartans still with runners on the corners and 1 out. New batter is Brady Smith at the plate. Time called behind the plate by Pat Sparky Burns. So Tolia wasting no time to make it a 4-run ball game again. Now Smith at the plate. Mockma from the stretch, breaking ball down and away for ball 1. Tolia with his 12th run batted in on the season. That single pulled to the right side. As we talked about, Coach Roberts trying to make adjustments, make him a little more of a pull hitter as a lefty, add some more power. 2-0 count now on Smith, who takes a fastball. Dillard on third base. He worked a nice walk with an 0-2 count. Tolia on first. Burdick was the runner that came home to score. 2-0 on Smith. The pitch right down the heart of the plate for strike 1. So it's the 3rd time that the Kettleers have seen Mike Mockma. Of course, they saw him on Saturday in the 9-5 victory over Hyannis at McKeon Park, spoiling Pizza Fest. Saturday, big marketing event that Hyannis had basically been building their entire season to in terms of a marketing or branding standpoint. Big event that was really fun in the middle of downtown Hyannis. In fact, we got to go and stop by and see what the hoopla was all about.
Looked fun. We didn't get any pizza. We got some water bottles.
We did. Our good friend Chris Lucy, the voice of the Harbor Hawks, helping us out there. The 2-1. Hit foul once again at the plate. 2-2 on Smith. Smith has reached twice today. 1 for 1 with a single back in the 3rd. He walked and scored in the 2nd inning. Utility man from Florida looks to make his home at third base now with the departure of Ryan Reynolds. Injured his back at the Fenway workout, and he has since been released. That injury will keep him out of the Cape League for the rest of the summer. The 2-2 pitch. Nice looping breaking ball. Called for strike 3, and that'll retire Smith for the 2nd out of the inning.
Solid pitch there from Mockma. Good comeback from the first pitch single by Tolia. But Duke Ellis still with the big chance to keep the party going with 2 outs.
Duke Ellis. 2 outs and runners on the corners still. Tolia's RBI single making it a 4-run game again. Ellis showing bunt. Pulls it back. Fastball in there anyway for strike 1. Mike Mockma out of the pen to relieve the right-hander and Zach Cohn, who began this game on the hill for Hyannis. Right-hander Luke Chevalier has worked 5 1-run innings here for the Kettleers at home. Looking to make it another Patriot Cup victory. Kets leading the all-time Patriot Cup series against Hyannis 9-4, or 5 rather. Strike 2 on Ellis. One run home here in this inning. Cotuit looking to make it more and try and break this one open against the first place Harbor Hawks, who have won 4 in a row. Mockma a long look in at the belt, 6'7", now to the plate. The 0-2 just nipped off foul at the end of Ellis's bat. Of course, fans, don't forget, coming up next in the top of the 6th inning, Mr. Brief will have the broadcast trivia question. You could take to Twitter and participate yourself at Cotuit Kettleers.
Quick pick back from Machma, and it gets away at first base. Another run will come home to score. Thomas Dillard coasting in. Make it 6-1 Kettleers after an errant throw from Machma on a pickoff attempt. Tolia moves up to second base as well. And the Kettleers with 2 here in this 5th inning.
Yeah, those little mistakes, they'll come back to bite you. 6-1 Kettleers, things are looking good right now. Machma's had some control issues this season. We've seen them against the Kettleers.
Rule it an E1 on the bad throw from Machma. Still a runner in scoring position. An 0-2 count with 2 outs here on Ellis. 6-1 Cotuit in front. Pitch. Hit hard. Through into left field. A base hit from Ellis. Tolia hustling home from third. He slides in. 7-1 Kettleers all over Hyannis here in this 5th inning.
Stringing hits together, that's what it's all about. That's what the Kettleers need. Good base running there from Michael Tolia. Love the hustle, love the unconventional feet first slide. Kind of slip and slide, kind of slide. And 7-1, the Kets starting to pour it on.
Duke Ellis, the base hit to drive in Tolia. And now 7-1 Kets on top of Hyannis here in the home half of the 5th. 2 away, and Corey Wood at the plate. Runner is going. Ellis sprinting, sliding, throw from Wilkie. Not in time on 1 hop. A stolen base for Duke Ellis with 2 outs.
Well, he was working with Brian Roberts on base running today. Pays off there. The magic touch. Good start, good finish from Duke Ellis. And another runner in scoring position.
Wood at the plate. A chance to bring in a run with 2 outs. He did that yesterday. A 2-out RBI single against Harwich. Looking to add to a 6-run lead. The 0-1 popped up high just over the infield to shallow center. Rivera will call off Holland and make the catch with 2 hands for the final out of the inning. But the Kettleers come up big. 3 runs come home here in this 5th inning, capped off by the RBI single from Duke Ellis. And it's 7-1 Cotuit over Hyannis as we head to the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. The Kets have poured it on. It's 7-1 Cotuit over Hyannis. Here in the 6th, Luke Chevalier, the Cotuit kid, is on to work this inning. He's been very solid through 5 innings. Just 1 run on 3 hits for Hyannis. 7 runs on 6 hits for the Kettleers, with 3 coming across in the last frame in the 5th. RBI single from Michael Tolia, RBI single Duke Ellis, and Thomas Dillard also coming on a throwing error from the pitcher Mike Machma. 1-0 count to Luke Chevalier. And now it's time for our broadcast trivia here in the 6th inning. As Chevalier kicks and fires to Lott, taken in the dirt for ball 2. Alrighty, yesterday we had an all-star game type of question with Charlie Blackman. Another all-star game question today. Let's see if I can stump you. First, the 2-0 outside, ball 3. So in Tuesday's MLB All-Star Game, the AL and NL combined for an All-Star Game record 10 homers. Out of those 10 home runs, a few were hit by Cape League alums. 3-0 down the middle, strike 1. So which home run hitter or hitters from Tuesday night's game did not play in the Cape Cod League? This one hammered foul at full count. Is it A, Alex Bregman, B, George Springer, C, Trevor Story, or D, both A and C, Bregman and Story? Here comes the full count offering to Lott. Outside, strike 3. Good pitch, Chevalier, confusing Todd Lott. And now Chevy with 4 strikeouts on the day. The Cotuit kid looking good.
Yeah, he's looking good indeed. He fooled Todd Lott there. And let's think about this trivia question here. Do you like these did not questions?
I do like
these
the did
did nots.
Strike 1 to Trevor Hauver. So again, the question, which home run hitter from the All-Star game on Tuesday did not play in the Cape League? Alex Bregman, George Springer, Trevor Story, or both A and C, which would be both Bregman and Story. You can answer at Cotuit Kettleers on Twitter. Give us your vote. Sam will give me his vote, and we'll give you the answer after the 7th inning stretch. 0-2 high, ball 1. Early thoughts?
I feel like Springer came out of high school, so I'm tending towards eliminating him.
1-2 is outside, a 2-2 count. This is Trevor Hauver at the plate, 0 for 2 today. The Arizona State Sun Devil working against Luke Chevalier. Deep breath from Chevy, shakes off the first signal. He likes the second. Here's his 2-2. Cranked off foul. Count stays pat.
You've been trying to throw up smoke screens on the last couple of questions. That's what you did with Lincecum, and you might be doing that with D, which is both A and C. We haven't seen that at all. And I think you did do an all of the above on another one, which wasn't the answer.
Yep. I'm trying to think like a professor, right?
You're using test-taking
It's a one-question test. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on. Ground ball up the middle. Stabbed by Corey Wood. He turns and throws to Michael Tolia. There's 2 outs.
Good job by Corey Wood. That ball took a little bit of a weird hop off the side of the mound, and it was hard hit. So it was coming in with some spin on it, but he was able to adjust and make the play. Okay, I don't want to overthink this too much. I really think
partner.
that, I mean, Springer is obviously the best player of the bunch, even though Bregman's a phenomenal player. I don't know.
First pitch to Eric Rivera, big cut and a miss. 1 strike.
I feel like he came out of high school. I'm not sure for sure, but if he did it, he would have been good enough to play in the Cape League. So then I could be stabbing myself in the back. But I do feel like he's...
0-1 is hit high in the air. Into shallow left field. Mike Salvatore, the shortstop, will glove it. And there's a 1-2-3 inning for Luke Chevalier. You want to answer this going to break or coming out of the break?
I'm going to do it on a time crunch. I'm going with D, baby.
D.
Yep,
Both
I'm
A
going
and
with
C.
D.
All right.
Yep.
There's Sam's answer. Give us yours. Twitter.com/Cotuit Kettleers. At Cotuit Kettleers. If you're on the Twitter app on your phone, we'll have the answer for you in the bottom of the 7th, where the Kettleers are on top of the Harbor Hawks 7-1 as we head to the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Have a hit chance reigning over Lowell Park, and the Kettleers have had 6 hits today. 7 runs off of those hits, just thrashing the Harbor Hawks here in the 6th. It's 7-1, Cotuit over Hyannis in the rubber match of the 2018 Patriot Cup Series. Garrett Woolforth will lead things off here, the 9-hole hitter. Will Robertson, Peyton Burdick to follow. Facing off against Mike Mockma, the Michigan State Spartan. 6'7", 240, a big frame. Big Mike kicks and deals. First pitch swinging, high pop-up left side of the infield. Davis Wenzel in foul territory reaches up and makes the catch. There's one away. Fans answer our trivia question. Sam just did. The question about the record 10 home runs in the All-Star game back on Tuesday night. A few of them were hit by Cape League players. Which home run hitter did not play in the Cape League? Is it A, Alex Bregman, B, George Springer, C, Trevor Story, or D, both A and C? Sam going with option D. You can side with him or not over on Twitter as strike one drops into Will Robertson. Will, nice day at the office today. A walk in the first inning, a 2 RBI single in the second, a flyout in the fourth. 0-1 the count on him as Mockma fires. This one slapped right side, muffed by the first baseman Gray. Recovery by Garris at second. He flips it to Mockma, the pitcher, for out number 2. Good recovery from the Hyannis defense as Seth Gray saw it bounce off his glove. His second baseman backing him up in time to make the second out.
How many times have we now seen that against Hyannis, or just a team doing it against the Kettleers this season? A deflection off the first baseman trying to dive to his right, and then the second baseman picking him up while the pitcher has the awareness to go cover the bag. That's a good defensive play.
First pitch to Burdick, strike one. And that Hyannis defense has been one of the sharper components of this team this season. 27 errors, that's fewest on the Cape. 0-1 to Bird. Check swing, he went. There's strike 2. Looking at the defense on the Cape, it's been interesting this season. A team like Hyannis, that's been their bread and butter, fewest errors. The YD Red Sox have been the best team on the Cape, 19-9-4. But they've made 55 errors. That's 9th worst on the Cape. Just Brewster has made more. And there's a swing and a miss from Peyton Burdick for strike 3. Mike Mockma coming back nicely with a 1-2-3 inning, capped off by a 3-pitch strikeout. No sweat for the Kettleers. It's still 7-1. Cotuit on top as we head to the 7th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Top of the 7th, pitching change for the Kettleers. Ryan Leffner on in relief of Luke Chevalier. And now we'll send it down to the 3rd member of our crew, Mason Hordisky. Mason, how you doing down there?
Doing great, guys, especially better today now that I'm on the bingo board for the first time. But back to the but going back to the game, the Kettleers have worked themselves out of a very good habit lately today, and that's putting up runs early and not continuing. Oh, we have our 4th member of our broadcast team, Zane Collins, back there. But anyways, the Kettleers were able to extend their runs out between innings today, and that's huge. They've had 13 games this year where they've had all their offense only in 1 inning. But other than that, they've been doing great today. I spoke with Coach Roberts after the game yesterday, and he said that basically what they need to do is swing the bat more. They're taking too many pitches, not being too aggressive at the plate. Obviously, they've been way better at the plate today, swinging the bat as much as they can, and it's shown today with that 7-1 lead. If they're able to do that the rest of the year, they should be fine when playoff times comes around. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Mason. And he's the third member of our crew. As he said, Zane Collins today, member number 4. All the shenanigans behind the camera. We love to see it. And back on the field, the pitching change for the Kets looks like this. Luke Chevalier exits the game. What a day for the Cotuit native. Wearing the pinstripes as the starting pitcher for the first time this season at Lowell Park. And he was phenomenal. 6 innings, 3 hits, just 1 run. He struck out 4 and walked just 1 batter. And Ryan Leffner is the man on for Cotuit. As he fires in the 1-0 outside, now a 2-0 count to Kyle Wilkie, the catcher. Leffner, 6'1", 195, a righty out of St. Louis University. 5.62 ERA on the season with 12 Ks. 2-0 down the middle for strike 1. Leffner's had some gems this year, most notably back on July 12th, the 2-2 tie here at Lowell Park against Wareham. He threw 3 shutout innings with just 1 hit. And Wilkie taps that one off his shin for strike 2. 10th appearance of the season for Leff. And he'll look to hold this 7-1 lead. Kettleers scoring 7 runs on 6 hits, 4 in the second, 3 in the fifth. Pouring it on in Game 6 of the Patriot Cup. Here's the 2-2. Foul tip off the bat of Wilkie, and the count stays pat. Kyle Wilkie out of Clemson. He's got the Clemson orange and purple catcher's gear when he's behind home plate. He had a 29-game hit streak last year for the Tigers down in South Carolina. 2 balls, 2 strikes, no one out in a 7-1 ball game. Leffner kicks and deals, swung on, roped over the head of Salvatore. A base hit to lead the 7th for Kyle Wilkie. So Kettleers, with the win today, assuming they're able to hold on, would win the Barnstable Patriot Cup for the 6th time in 7 years. That's based off the Barnstable Patriot newspaper, and these are the 2 teams in the Barnstable jurisdiction. Last time Hyannis won was in 2015. They actually won 6-0 that year. That was a mighty fine Harbor Hawks team that made it all the way to the Cape League Finals. Taylor Garris swing and a miss for strike 1. Started back in 2004. Barnstable Patriot publisher Rob Sennett and the editor David Still creating it. Kettleers on top, 9-5. Looking to make it 10-5 with a win today. 0-1, here it comes to Garris. It's the outside corner. There's strike 2. In the event that Hyannis were to come back and win this game, it would be 3-3 on the season. 3 tiebreakers, fewest runs allowed is the first. Kettleers have the advantage. Most strikeouts is second. Hyannis has the advantage. And the third is a bat toss between team captains. 0-2, slow chopper, left side, shallow in the infield. Ryan Leffner is going to circle around it. No one makes the play. An infield single for Taylor Garris. 2 men aboard, still no one out for Hyannis here in the 7th.
Kind of a weird play right there, just off the mound, and Leffner did like a figure 8 around the ball, just trying to make sure he had it in front, knew he wasn't going to be able to make a throw. That's a smart play, but 2 runners on for Hyannis, and top of the lineup coming, so you want to make sure that you get this man and Davis Wenzel put down. In regards to those tiebreakers, I'm not sure we're going to need to worry too much about them.
A bat toss.
The Kettleers, but that bat toss, yeah, is it just how far you can toss a bat? Or is it like a jump ball? You throw the bat in the air and you just jump up and battle for it? I'm not sure.
It could be where you grip the bottom of the bat and alternate hands to the top.
But that's no tossing involved.
A toss.
Yeah.
That's a grip. First pitch to Wenzel in the dirt, ball 1. Shift applied on Wenzel. 3 infielders protecting the left side. Just the first baseman, Michael Tolia, on the right side. 2 runners on. No one out in the 7th. I want to see the bat toss. I'm happy. Looks like the Kettleers are going to win the Patriot Cup without needing the bat toss, but I kind of want to see it. It's never been employed. 1-0 from Leffner. High and tight, ball 2.
Let's hope we don't have to see it today, though.
I mean, what if it's just you stand at home plate and you got to chuck the bat as far as you can into the
betting that's
outfield?
what it is, like a shot put throw or something like that.
It sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I'd love to see it, though.
Is there a technique that's most efficient?
What?
Or is it just brute strength?
Yeah. There's a few different ways that could go. 2-0 to Wenzel. A bit down, but in the zone for strike one. It could also be, right, like one side of the bat, let's say, for example, says Louisville Slugger. The other side is plain, and you toss it, and it's like a coin flip. So the side that has the text is heads, and the other side is tails, but then just do a coin flip.
It's a cylinder, though. That's such a weird
You can do that.
thing.
It's like laces or spaces with the football. Swing and a miss there from Wenzel, strike two.
Yeah, I guess that's one point.
We'll have to drive up to the Barnstable Patriot offices and question.
Yeah, if you're
this
listening
bat
right
toss.
now, we need an explanation.
I'd
That's
love
just
to
so
know.
funny.
It sounds fun. So 2-2 the count on Wenzel. 2 runners on. Wilkie and Garris aboard. Davis Wenzel, the Baylor Bear, 1 for 3 today. A double and a run scored back in the 5th. As he swings right through this one, a strike. For Ryan Leffner, he sits down Davis Wenzel with his first K of the afternoon. And there's one out in the 7th.
Good job by Leffner. Big strikeout there. Now you got a double play ball in play for Will Holland coming to the plate. That bat toss, I would think you would just swing the bat and just let it go on the end of your swing, and it would go flying.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's basically the best way to do it if it was a toss for distance.
That's a good idea.
I thought you might try and like tomahawk it.
Like a shot put throw, right?
Just
Or like
take
a
the handle
frisbee
and
kind
just
of throw, too.
vertically spin it.
A few different options.
Or you could take it with 2 hands and rear back and just shot put it, or javelin throw, kind of.
Get a good audience. Here's Will Holland, 0 for 3 today. First pitch from Leffner outside, ball 1.
If we were in that bat toss stage of the game,
you would win. I think you would win.
I'm saying for the Kettleers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about between me and you.
No. Who would you want to represent the Kettleers?
Well, I remember earlier in the season, Peyton Burdick had a swing and a miss where he lost control of the bat as Holland fouls this one off, a 1-1 count. The bat slipped out of his hands, and it just flew into the concourse. So just based on that, he would be a fine option. Thomas Dillard, he's got a lot of upper body strength. I could see a pitcher, though. Maybe a big Steven Schock having some success.
I could see Joey Walsh having some
success.
Oh, yeah. Brady Smith, he's not here with us right now, or Zach Bierman or Tolia. There are a lot of big dudes on the team. Even
it depends what kind of skill you want. 1-1 to Holland. This one shot back foul, a 1-2 count. It depends what you necessarily need. Is it just the upper body strength? Is it the technique? What kind of form are you going to employ? If it's brute strength, I'd probably go Dillard.
Yeah. Bird's a pretty strong guy,
Bird too. A lot of good options. 1-2 the count. 2 runners on. The pitch served on the left side of the infield. Salvatore scoops, fakes the throw. He's not able to make it too far out in the back of the infield. That's going to load the bases as Wilkie moves to third, Garris to second, and Will Holland on with the infield single. That's the second infield single of this inning. And just like that, it's a 7-1 ball game, but Hyannis a big chance here. If the Harbor Hawks are going to claw back, this would be their time to do it. The best hitter on the Cape this season by average. Matthew Barefoot, a .396 hitter coming in, 22-game hit streak. He's up. Ducks on the pond. First pitch he sees is low. Ball 1.
This is a big spot here. 7th inning, there's still a little bit of time for Hyannis to come back in this game. Down by 6, and Barefoot, their best hitter at the plate. Bases loaded. Let's see if Ryan Leffner can get out of it.
Here's the 1-0 to Barefoot. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Matthew Barefoot, so phenomenal this season. And today he's continued it. Hit by pitch in the first, a single in the third, and an RBI double in the 5th to score the Harbor Hawks' lone run. Here's the 1-1 to Matthew. Outside, trailing in the dirt for ball 2. Ryan Leffner on to work this inning. Luke Chevalier started it off for the Kettleers. 6 innings, just 1 run on 3 hits with 4 strikeouts. A stupendous outing for Luke. 2-1 to Barefoot. Here it comes. Taken low, ball 3, and now Leffner in danger of walking with the bases loaded and putting another run home for Hyannis. It's 7-1 Kettleers, so a lot of cushion for Cotuit. But Matthew Barefoot looming at the plate, now time called. Garrett Woolforth, the catcher, calling out time. His first start at catcher this season. In the Kettleers' last game here at Lowell Park against Harwich on Tuesday, he started at DH. Now the 3-1 to Barefoot. Outside, ball 4, a walk with the bases loaded. Barefoot to first, Garris to second, Wilkie home. And it's 7-2 now. 1 out in the 7th.
Weinstein time.
Here comes Jerry Weinstein. He's going to chat with Ryan Leffner. So Hyannis not out of reach. Seemed crazier than a team come back from down 5. The Kettleers did it in the 7th inning earlier this season against Orleans. They were down 4. Ended up winning that game 5-4. Let's see how much fight the Harbor Hawks have in them. Bases are loaded. Seth Gray coming to the plate with just 1 out. And after the walk from Matthew Barefoot, Todd Lott, also a dangerous hitter, due on deck. And Lott and Barefoot, 2 of the 3 Western representatives in the Home Run Derby, which will take place on Sunday. It's going to be Todd Lott, Matthew Barefoot, and Bryant Packard for Wareham. Spencer Torkelson, Blake Sable representing for Chatham in the East.
I'll take Torkelson as my official pick.
That's easy money. First pitch to Seth Gray. Fooled him. Swing and a miss, strike 1. As Ryan Leffner pulls the string there. A first pitch strike after a mound meeting from Jerry Weinstein. 0-1. Another swing and a miss, strike 2. That mound visit, just what Leffner needed. And he has the advantage on Seth Gray, who takes off the helmet to wipe off some sweat off his forehead. Not too hot here in Cotuit. Shadows casting over the field now. 75 and sunny. 0-2, a deep breath from Leffner. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. How about it? Ryan Leffner, a 3-pitch strikeout, all swinging. And now 2 outs in the 7th. Still the bases loaded, however, for Todd Lott.
Went all off speed in that at-bat against a power hitter in Seth Gray, and I like the call. Wouldn't mind if he does it here against Todd Lott, who inscribes something outside the right-handed batter's box with the knob of his bat. And just a big chance here for Leffner to keep this at minimal damage. 5-run lead is plenty, but it could change in a blink of an eye with the man Todd Lott at the plate.
It's Garris at third, Holland at second, Barefoot at first. 7-2 Cotuit over Hyannis. With 2 outs in the 7th. Shift applied on Lott. First pitch to him is in the dirt for ball 1. A lot of these Harbor Hawk hitters command a shift. Wenzel, Barefoot, Lott, all seeing the infield shift to the left, protecting that left side of the infield. Only Tolia protecting the right side in the sun. Here's the 1-0 to Lott. He fouls it off his shin, a stinger for strike 1. Kettleers offense today, mighty fine. 7 runs on 6 hits, 4 of those in the 2nd, 3 in the 5th. Garrett Woolforth, Will Robertson, Michael Tolia, Duke Ellis, all driving in runs. 1-1, cracked left side into the shift. Mike Salvatore picks it up and fires to second for the easy out. And Ryan Leffner escapes a bases-loaded jam. Minimal damage, just 1 run in this inning for the Harbor Hawks. And the Kets are on top, 7-2. Time to stretch here at Lowell Park. Stretch the glutes, the hammies, whatever you want. 7th inning stretch time. It's 7-2 Kettleers here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. back at it from Lowell Park. Hope you had a good 7th inning stretch wherever you are, whether you're on a bus, a train, a plane, a car, or just sitting at home. Thanks for spending this afternoon, evening with us. Kets on top 7-2 in Game 6 of the Patriot Cup Series. And now time to circle back to our trivia question. Based on the All-Star game, a riveting All-Star game on Tuesday night, 10 home runs. That was the All-Star game record. A few were hit by Cape League alums. My question to you and to Sam, which home run hitter from Tuesday night did not, at one point, suit up for a Cape League team? 4 options: A, Alex Bregman, B, George Springer, C, Trevor Story, D, both A and C. High fly ball from Dillard to center, gloved by Rivera for the first out of the 7th. Sam electing D, which was both A and C, saying that both Alex Bregman and Trevor Story did not at one point play on the Cape. Feeling confident?
I don't know. I was sitting here after break, kind of having a moment, thinking about defeat, and we'll see.
Well, you're right.
I knew it. All right.
Oh, man.
You know why I knew it?
Yeah?
I knew your tactics, and after I gave the answer, which I purposely built up to make it seem like I was confused, and then I just whipped it out on you with the time crunch, with your very minimalistic reaction, I knew I had you beat.
I go more over the top, maybe, if I know you're wrong.
Yeah.
1-1 to Salvi from Makma. Hammered off foul, a 1-2 count. So yes, D is correct. Both A and C, both Alex Bregman and Trevor Story never played in the Cape. Alex Bregman actually was signed up to play on the Cape. He was supposed to play for the Harwich Mariners in 2013, but was then lured away by Team USA. So almost a Cape League guy.
Uh-huh.
I thought that one might trick you. 1-2 to Salvi in the dirt through the 5-hole of Wilkie for ball 2. Now, we've done bonus points before. You're
Okay.
1 for 1 in bonus points. Obviously, George Springer did play on the Cape because he was not the right answer. If you can tell me who George Springer played for, I'll give you a bonus.
And remember, the bonus I did get was just guessing George Springer on that question the other day.
2-2 is a flare right to the shortstop, Holland. He backtracks and makes the catch. There's 2 away in the 7th. Yes, it was who's hit 5 home runs in a postseason series alongside Chase Utley and Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, I'm going
So where did he
guess.
play?
You know, the Eastern Division teams have a lot more flash. They have a lot more notable alums than the Western Division teams. He's obviously not a Kettleer. He's not a Falmouth Commodore. He's not a Born Brave. And there's no way he's a Hyannis Harbour Hawk. We know they're alums. Nice.
First pitch to Michael Tolia, served in a center. A laser of a base hit and a runner on with 2 outs.
Very good, Tolia. You can tell he's made the adjustments with Coach Roberts. The first couple of at-bats, he took it to left field and then to right field, but 2 hard base hits on first pitch at-bats in his last 2 trips to the plate. I liked what I saw there. He's not in a Western Division team. He might have been a Wareham gatekeeper. They seem to have a lot of Cape League alums. But I am going to go with my original sentiment and say that he is a YD Red Sox.
Wrong.
Harwich.
Wrong.
Roosters.
Wrong.
Gatekeepers.
Yes!
Yeah, dang it.
Gatekeepers.
Dang it,
I thought you were going to go when you were going through the West. 1-0 to Brady Smith. High for ball 2. You eliminated all the West teams. Then you go, maybe Wareham.
Yeah, I should have known.
He was a Wareham gatekeeper.
There are so many Wareham alums.
Kyle Schwarber.
So many.
The top 2 picks in the MLB draft last year. Casey Mize out of Auburn. Joey Bart out of Georgia Tech. Here's a high chopper off the bat of Brady Smith. Charge from Wenzel. He takes it and throws to first for out number 3. Michael Tolia, a nice hit. He's stranded at first. No worry for the Kettleers. They lead it 7-2 here in the 8th. We'll be back with the rest of this one. Cats on top here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
You heard Coach Roberts. It's the 8th inning here at Lowell Park of Cotuit Kettleers baseball. Patriot Cup action here in Game 6 against the Hyannis Harbour Hawks. And the Kettleers in control, 7-2 the score. And it will be Ryan Leffner back out on the mound for his second inning of work. Here in the 8th, the first pitch strike to Trevor Hauber. Followed up by Eric Rivera and then Kyle Wilkie. Shadows across the left side of the infield and also into center field. Here at Lowell Park. Clear blue skies overhead. Beautiful day for baseball as the Kettleers sniff in perhaps a third Patriot Cup in a row. Leffner getting ahead in the count. Nice curveball, 1-2 here on Hauber. Right-hander from St. Louis deals. This one just tipped foul at the plate. 7 runs on 7 hits, 1 error for the homestanding Kettleers. 2 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors for the visiting first place Hyannis Harbour Hawks. 1-2 is way upstairs. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Hauber. Kettleers with a 4 spot in the bottom of 2. A 3 spot in the bottom of 5. A couple of big chunks to power their offense today. Garrett Woolforth, a 2-run double to start the scoring. Will Robertson, a 2-run single in that same second inning. Then RBI hits from Michael Tolia and Duke Ellis. Back in the 5th. 2-2. Little short grounder to first. 3-1 as Tolia tosses to Leffner, who covers the bag for out number 1 here in the top of 8.
Such a nice job from the Kettleers today. Offensively, 7 runs on 7 hits. They haven't stranded too many base runners, which had been a common theme as of late. Of course, we're assuming Leffner can hold the fort down on this one, but a job well done for Cotuit. They needed this win, 1-4-2 in the prior 7 games, and this turns the tide. Confidence, hopefully later, we'll get to see them hoist the Patriot Cup, and it'll be all good feelings around Lowell Park.
Here's Eric Rivera. Pulls the first pitch foul on the left side. 1 out in the 8th. 0-1 count to the batter and Rivera, who asks for time. It's granted by Sparky Burns behind the plate. Kettleers up by 5. The 0-1. Down and away for ball 1. How about Luke Chevalier today? Cotuit starter with some of his best stuff. 6 innings, allowing just 1 run. Rivera, a little bloop single in the center. Check that, a catch by Peyton Burdick, who comes on. Another routine, and he'll make it for out number 2.
Now, Pat Sparky Burns, I know we've been talking about his nickname. Back in 2013, he was named the top umpire on the Cape, the Curly Clement Award. He's been an ump for more than 35 years, now going on 40.
That's a lot of experience.
And this article I have pulled up about him winning it has no explanation of the name Sparky, but certainly a good umpire. Best in the Cape back in 2013.
Of course, that was the year when Cotuit last won the Cape League Championship. They're 16th, most in the league all time. Sparky behind the plate calling a ball as Leffner misses with the slider outside. 2-1 the count on Kyle Wilkie. Catcher out of Clemson, who's 1 for 3 with a run scored. 2 down in the 8th. Ketts up 7-2. High chopper, left side. Salvi's got it. High throw, snagged by Tolia, who tried to swipe down and tag the runner. Takes him off the bag, and Wilkie safe at first to keep the inning alive for Hyannis.
That'll chalk up as an error, a throwing error on Salvatore, taking Tolia off the bag. Hopefully no sweat that time.
Taylor Garris will get a chance after Wilkie reaches on the second Cotuit error of the day. Kettleers defense coming into today, 3rd in the league in fielding percentage with a .973 clip. There's a swing and a miss on a nice changeup there. Garris behind the count, 0-1. 45 errors in total on the season. The 0-1 from Leffner, dropped in, a nice curveball. 0-2 the count with 2 outs and a runner on. Check on a couple of Cape League scores. The Chatham Anglers all over Brewster in the bottom of 6, 12-1. Leffner on the mound, comes set, Now to the plate. Swing and a miss. He blows away Garris for the third out here in this 8th inning. And Leffner working around a 2-out base knock. Doing well out of the bullpen as the Kettleers continue to cruise heading into the home half of the 8th. Cotuit 7, Hyannis 2. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Barefoot digs in. Check that, Wenzel. Not sure where I got that from. And there's a ball that's spiked up to the plate from Ryan Leffner.
He's in your head.
I guess.
He's so good.
He's looming. He'll be due up third. Cotuit with a shift. 3 on the left side as Wenzel cuts and misses at the second pitch, a 1-1 count. Wood, Salvatore in the hole, and then Smith hugging the line at third. Foul tip off the thigh of Wenzel at home plate, and he'll try and walk it off as he falls behind the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Michael Tolia, the first baseman, is the only man for Cotuit on the right side of that infield. Shadows have engulfed the diamond and most of the outfield except for parts of right field near the line. Sun setting down, clear blue sky above, very pleasant Thursday night here on Cape Cod. Cotuit has had control of this one from the beginning as Wenzel trying to shake things off after fouling that last pitch off of him, still not in the batter's box. And the big bearded third baseman will finally step in. Look at his Maplewood bat, gripping it with the Franklin orange gloves. The windup from Leffner, swing and a miss on the 1-2. Good breaking pitch down and away, and 1 out here in the 9th inning.
Kettleers starting to smell it. And a theme this season that we've discussed at least has been the intensity and stepping on the throat of your opponent. At times this season, such as yesterday, Kettleers score 3 runs early on against Harwich, but nothing doing from the 5th to the 12th, and you end in a tie. Today, the early run production was great, 4 runs in the second, but it was that second punch in the 5th, 3 runs in the 5th, making it a 7-1 ball game at the time and putting it out of reach. That was the key, and that's what we need more of at Lowell.
Will Holland skies a 1-0 pitch into the alley in right center field. Extra bases as it hops over the wall and into the trees. Peyton Burdick and Will Robertson put their hands up. A 1-out ground rule double for Will Holland, the shortstop out of Auburn, giving Hyannis a little bit of light here with 1 out in the 9th. A 7-2 ball game. And Matthew Barefoot coming to the plate. Plenty of pad for the Kettleers as Ryan Leffner remains on the mound.
And the Kettleers have also been so much more opportunistic in this ball game. Hyannis has stranded a base runner in every inning but the 6th. 3 base runners stranded, the bases loaded in the 7th. 7 hits for both sides, but it's been Cotuit who's converted.
Shift on again on the Kettleer infield. 3 on the left side, Tolley on the right. Barefoot the batter, he's ahead in the count 1-0. Now make it 2-0 as a curveball misses in the dirt from Leffner. Garrett Gale, the right-handed closer, just stretching and tossing in the Cotuit pen down the left field line. Runner on second in Holland, 1 out here in the 9th. Kettleers up by 5. 2-0 from Leffner. Line towards center. Burdick coming in. It's going to drop on 1 hop in front of him. And another base hit for Hyannis. Matthew Barefoot keeping the train moving as Holland moves up to third base. Runners on the corners with 1 away for the cleanup man, Seth Gray.
This guy is phenomenal. Right now, the favorite in my mind for Cape League MVP. 3 for 3 today. Came in with a .396 average. He'll walk out of Lowell Park with an average north of 400. And now you got to be a little careful here. This game far from over. It's 7-2, but you got to avoid a little meltdown.
Hyannis not going down without a fight. The heart of their order making it at least a little interesting here in the 9th inning. Cotuit winning 7-2. 1 out. Runners on first and third. Matthew Barefoot extending his 22-game hit streak all the way back in the 3rd. He's reached all 5 times at the plate today. Now it's Seth Gray. Middle infield at double play depth with 1 out. Kettleers will try and roll 1 up to end it. Looking for 2 more outs to try and win Patriot Cup number 10 in that series history. And before we get going, Jerry Weinstein, the pitching coach, will walk out from the dugout and come to the mound. Will it be a pitching change? Very much feeling like one, as Weinstein signals to the bullpen and takes the ball from the right-hander Ryan Leffner. He will exit this game, responsible for the runners on first and third, greeted by applause from the home Kettleers fans. And Garrett Gale, the closer out of the bullpen, will trot out for the final 2 outs of this one. We'll be back with the rest of this ball game. Kettleers up 7-2 with 1 out in the 9th when we return here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Two more outs to go for a Patriot Cup victory in 2018 for the Cotuit Kettleers, but they'll have to take care of business with their closer on the mound, Garrett Gale, entering this ball game, relieving Ryan Lefter, who goes 2 1/3, allowing 4 hits, 1 run thus far, 1 walk, and he did strike out 4. A good performance, and it will be on Gale, the hard-throwing righty out of Rice University, inheriting runners on the corners. Just 1 out. 7-2, Kettleers in front, and Seth Gray is the batter from the left side. The bearded right-hander from Cypress, Texas comes set at the belt, now to the plate, missing upstairs at 91 miles an hour for ball 1. Cotuit with the infield at double play depth. Nobody holding on the runners, as here's the 1-0. Popped up on the infield. Foul, left side. Brady Smith calling off Woolforth. He secures it for out number 2. The Kettleers up by 5 and 1 out away from winning the season series and taking Patriot Cup number 6 in 7 seasons over Hyannis. And the Harbor Hawks' last chance here will be Todd Lott with 2 outs in the 9th. Runners on 1st and 3rd. Infield back to normal depth. Gale looking in. Intense look as he comes set from the stretch. And now we'll check towards 3rd. A little faux pickoff move. Nobody holding on. A year ago on this day last summer, Coach Mike Roberts picked up his 300th career Cape League victory. Kettleers trying to pick up hardware here. Lott skies one towards center field. Burdick charging in for it. Diving play to make the final out of the ball game. And with that, the Kettleers collect Patriot Cup number 10. And franchise history, they take the 2018 season series over Hyannis 4-2. And Burdick capping it off with a phenomenal defensive play in center. 7-2, the final here at Lowell Park.
Was there a complete win that Cotuit needed, and it feels good as they get the Patriot Cup win for the 6th time in 7 years.
The Kettleers will celebrate on the mound, high-fiving each other before the sportsmanship handshake line with the Hyannis Harbour Hawks, as Cotuit makes it 4 victories to 2 over the Harbour Hawks in 2018. A 7-2 win. The offense scored in chunks today. The pitching was on. And we'll break down the whole rest of it when we come back. The post-game wrap here from Lowell Park. On the other side of this break, you're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball. You're on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back into Cotuit. Lowell Park, the site of this one, a Kettleers 7-2 win over the Hyannis Harbour Hawks, and with that, a Patriot Cup victory, make it 3 in a row, 6 in 7 years, and the 10th overall in franchise history. And the 15th installment of this rivalry series, the Barnstable Patriot Cup, staying home here in the village of Cotuit. And the Kettleers will keep their hardware as head coach Mike Roberts addressing the team, along with general manager Bruce Murphy, who has the Patriot Cup in hand. How about it? The Kettleers all around, a very good performance today. And they started behind their starting pitcher, Luke Chevalier, who was great from the get-go.
Absolutely. 6 innings for Chevy. 1 run on just 3 hits. He struck out 4. The hometown kid, not his first appearance here at Lowell Park, his first start at Lowell Park, and he rose to the occasion, shutting down a Hyannis lineup that had been really hot as of late. Came in with the second best batting average in the league at .263, and he was red hot. Just what Cotuit needed, just what the doctor ordered, behind an offense that powered him early with 4 runs, 3 runs coming in the 5th as well. It was a job well done for Cotuit as they lift the Patriot Cup.
Cotuit hoisting the Patriot Cup. It's big Michael Tolia, returning player who knows what it's like to win this rivalry series. As the Kets did it last summer, he holds it along with his teammates. He had an RBI single back in the 5th inning. Cotuit keeping hold of a trophy that they've dominated throughout the series history, starting back in 2004 with the Hyannis Harbour Hawks. They are the kings of Barnstable here in 2018, and a good rivalry series, always a friendly rivalry, and fun to add some hardware to that big trophy case here at Lowell Park, along with the 16 Cape League titles.
Yeah, I mean, hoisting anything is good. I mean, I would take a trophy right now to hoist. That would make me feel good. It's nice to be dominating this series from the Kettleers' perspective, 6 in 7 years. Obviously, for the players, it's a little different because you turn over the team every year, only a few carryovers. This year, you get Stephen Schock, Michael Tolia, Thomas Dillard, some of the guys returning to hoist it for a second consecutive time. But from an organizational perspective, to win against the team that you're closest to, the team in the Barnstable area, it feels good, and it shows that the Kettleers can still be dominant and might give this team some mojo down the home stretch.
As the team behind home plate with that Patriot Cup, looks like they're getting ready to pose for a victory photo. General manager Bruce Murphy chatting with pitching coach Jerry Weinstein. You see Matty Ice, the Kettleers superfan, tossing the rally monkey into the photo as the Kets pose in their pinstripes. Patriot Cup champions in 2018. Everybody getting in, all smiles. The first little mini victory here in the 3rd act of this 2018 season. A win, the first one this week, started with the loss against Harwich. The draw at Harwich yesterday. And feels good to be back in the win column, 7-2. Chevalier, the great pitching performance. Offense was good, a 4 spot in the 2nd, a 3 spot in the 5th. And it all started with Garrett Woolforth, who was really good in his 2nd start at the plate. Garrett
Woolforth with 2 men on, the 2 RBI single. A good way to insert himself into the lineup. His first start was against Harwich. He looked a little unsure at the plate. Today he stepped up with confidence. We know he's been working a little bit with Brian Roberts, who knows some of the ins and outs of switch hitting. That was a great strike to drive in 2 runs. And then Will Robertson following it up at the top of the order with the 2 RBI single. It was a good job stringing hits together for the Kettleers. And of course, continuing in the 5th inning, RBIs from Michael Tolia and Duke Ellis. Pretty much everyone got in on the party. Every single Kettleer, 1 through 9 in this lineup, got on base today. 7 of them came home to score, and a much-needed win, turning the tide for Cotuit.
Next up for the Kettleers, back at home tomorrow, a 5 p.m. first pitch against the Chatham A's, who are coming into town for the final time this season. Just the 3rd matchup between the 2 sides, 2 more to be played, including that one, and then a makeup game on Monday, the 23rd. So an interdivisional affair tomorrow right here at Lowell Park. We'll have the broadcast for you on the same 3 platforms. As always, Comcast Channel 99 in the Cape Cod area, on YouTube with the Cotuit Kettleers YouTube channel, or right here on Mixler.com/Cotuit Broadcasting, the Cape Cod Baseball Network, as the celebration continues at Lowell Park. 3 Patriot Cups in a row over Hyannis.
You see Matty Ice, the little super fan, taking a nice picture with it there as
kissing the
everybody
trophy.
gets to keep the trophy going around as the Kettleers with a big 2 points. Let's check on some of the other Cape League scores today. We didn't get to the full scoreboard earlier in the game as we were up against the end of a half inning. But let's go around the league at Red Wilson Field. YD with an 8-2 home advantage over the Bourne Braves. That's good news for the Kettleers, who are tied in terms of points right now in the division race with Bourne. If that result holds, Cotuit would be back in the fourth and back in the Western Division playoff picture. Chatham has been beating down Brewster 16-3 in the 7th inning at Stony Brook. The final here is 7-2, Cotuit over Hyannis, obviously. Falmouth with a 5-2 lead over Orleans in the bottom of 6 at home. Wareham an early 2-0 lead over Harwich in the 4th on the road. So that's your Cape League roundup, as all those games still in progress. The first final here with Cotuit getting a victory. So tomorrow against Chatham, early thoughts before we head into that one, Sam?
Yeah, an important game for the Kettleers as you try to string some wins together. Of course, the Kets have had a big advantage this year against the East, the first win against Chatham being that 6-1 win. This is a team clearly now riding a little high off the probably win against Brewster. Safe to say they'll end up winning that one by double digits. Spencer Torkelson back in their lineup. Even though the Kettleers won 6-1 last time out at Veterans Field, Torkelson hit that mammoth home run into left field to end the game. It's going to be a challenge for the Kettleers. This is a sneaky good Chatham team, and bringing 2 wins together before the All-Star game would be really important. You want to go into every break as you look at these as benchmarks of the season. After the All-Star game, you're counting down single digits. So if you go into that break riding some momentum, that could be important as the Kettleers jockey for position to try and make the playoffs here in the West.
Game 32 is a good one for Cotuit as they take this game over Hyannis. 7 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors, 6 left on base for the Kettleers, 2 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors, and 12 left on base for Hyannis. The winning pitcher, Luke Chevalier, improving to 2-0 on the campaign. Zach Cohn on the hook for the loss, a 1-1 record for him. Nobody gets a save. Time of today's ball game, 2 hours and 28 minutes here at beautiful Lowell Park. 7-2 the final. Cotuit taking their 10th Patriot Cup in franchise history over Hyannis. As we look forward to tomorrow against the Chatham Anglers, 5 p.m. first pitch, same time, same place right here. We'll look forward to talking to you then for our entire Kettleers media team. Executive producer Martha Johnston, director Mason Horodisky, Bailey Hewson, our production assistant, Max Curran, Ali Kamoria on social media, and our entire Kettleers media team. Sam Brief, my good partner. I'm Sam Niederman saying hasta mañana. We'll see you then for Chatham.